Uh, Senor Garcia, I think you're on mute. Senor Garcia, if you can hear me, you're on mute. You're on mute.
You're right, I was on mute. Sorry. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning to everybody, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Talk and Ball. I have two excellent people with me today. We have Adrian, who's part of the channel and part of Spurs Diehards, the TTID. And we also have Chan Ching Song, who is feeling much, much better and able to join us today, and is also part of or co-host of Spurs Asian TV. Welcome, both gentlemen. How are you both in your respective time zones?
I'm fine, thank you. Yeah. Jane, how are you? You're mute?
Yeah, I'm fine here as well. It's 9 p.m. on a beautiful Saturday night here in Southeast Asia, and I'm just taking in the post-match glory, the bask of glory, and just sitting back and just taking in all the rest of the weekend's festivities. Stress-free, I might add, absolutely stress-free, knowing that we've already done all we can, some 15 hours earlier. So the whole weekend's ours.
So just before we start, just wanted to people that didn't know, yesterday we became monetized, so we can now have super chats on the show, and memberships are now available, which has taken us by surprise, in the sense that Colin messaged me the day before yesterday and said, "Oh, I've received this email and it says that we can now do X, Y, and Z." So yeah, just to let people know that we have now been monetized. So super chats and memberships are now available. Right, talking about last night's game. So Chan and myself watched it from our homes. Adrian was at the game. The highlights for me at the moment, or what I will say, is the match facts are: we had 16 shots to Burnley's 10 shots. 7 of our shots were on target to Burnley's 1. We had 63% possession over Burnley's 37. We took part in 619 passes with an 86% accuracy. Burnley made 353 passes with a 75% accuracy. Tottenham conceded 14 fouls to Burnley's 11 fouls. There was 1 yellow card for Tottenham to 2 yellow cards for Burnley. We had 2 offsides. Burnley had 2 offsides. We had 8 corners. They had 3. That was the stats of the game. However, your eyes may tell you something differently. If for people that don't know, we won the game 1-0. I'm going to go to you, Adrian, because you were at the game.
Yeah, the atmosphere was quite good. I never thought that Burnley posed us any really serious threat, but it was a painful watch, I've got to be honest. And the crowd did do their best. The crowd were excellent. They did their best to keep lifting the team, come on, you Spurs and all that, Onto the game itself, Richie again had a chance early in the first half, and his first touch was a bit too hard. It took him too wide from the goal, and his shot went past the far post. He works hard, but we expect goals from our number 9. And he's although he's hit a bit of form recently, if he can't continue scoring goals throughout this season, then he's not good enough for Spurs, is he? I thought the 2 centre. I'm not a fan of Emerson. I don't think he's good enough for us. But I thought he had a good game yesterday. I thought him and Davis, they made some decisive tackles. I thought they were very good. I thought Porro was good and Udogie tried to push on. Our midfielders didn't really click. I think Bentancur still getting his sharpness back. Skip looks completely out of his depth at this level. People saying Kulu had his worst game. I'm a big fan of Kulu. I want him on there for his presence. I want him on there for his hold-up play and his defensive capabilities, because by God, we could have done with him against Bournemouth, and things like that, just to help us out.
Yep. I think that goes without saying.
I believe he's our most versatile player. I believe he can play on both wings. I believe he can play as an emergency number 9, a 10, an 8, a 6, an inverted fullback, and a right back, because he holds the ball so well. So and I think he's got a long future at this club. You know, Brennan Johnson, frustrating performance again. He had 2 good shots. He made the keeper make 2 saves yesterday. I think people overlooked that when they were criticising him yesterday after the game. I hope he shows. He's a work in progress, which is a bit disappointing when you pay that amount of money for a player. You'd expect him to come in and be oven ready, and hit the ground running like Udogie and Van der Ven. But he hasn't. He's going to take time. If not, and he's got to improve. Otherwise, he'll find himself on the bench or out of the club. I mean, I'm not throwing him under the bus. It's early to judge him. Some players take a bit longer to settle. Who else can we go to? Yeah, this sort of covers it really. Substitutions. Looks like Sessegnon's bulked up. I like the player. I know he's got his doubters and critics. He's definitely bulked up, which is good for a left winger come left fullback. If Ange gets a tune out of him, we'll save himself money on the left because we do need to bring in another quality player, to give Udogie competition. We'll see. If not, if he doesn't step up, then obviously he'll be gone as well. But I wouldn't. I am a fan. What I see him at Fulham, I remember his goal he scored against Bayern Munich away. I remember him having a very good game away at Man City, which we lost, but he had to face Foden and Jesus at the time, and he coped very well. So there is a player in there. Whether there's enough of a player and whether we can get consistency out of him, whether he can stay injury-free, well, that's unknown at this time. But obviously, Ange likes him. So the goal, what a strike. The goal was worth the 25 quid for the ticket, which is cheap in the FA Cup. I mean, I think the bench was shouting, "Don't shoot." And what a strike. And he has hit the post a couple of times this season, Porro, I think. So, yeah, I mean, and I have been a critic of Porro. I was a critic because, last season he was awful at Leeds. He was awful at Newcastle. He made mistakes. He always seemed to get done by crosses on the far post or being static and not looking over his shoulder. But he has really, really turned his game around, and he's been one of our outstanding performers. So, I don't class myself in the mud because I think my critic was genuine and fair at the time. But no, he's really come on a bomb. He's come on a bomb. And then other clubs are interested in, but they ain't getting any of our players. Don't worry about that. They're all signed up and will be, So that's about it. There wasn't too many bright spots to talk about in the game. I thought, like Brentford, Brighton, we moved the ball too slowly, and we usually start off quite brightly, and then because other teams have got more in midfield than our two, these lesser teams, they get a grip on the game because they've got 4 or 5 in midfield and drop back to a back 5 when we've got the ball, and they move the ball quicker than us and pass through us. I mean, we have got to move the ball quicker than we have, and when a winger's available, get the ball out to him quicker. It always seems to arrive to him a few seconds too late, and those seconds can be precious, So, yeah, we've shown great resilience in recent games where we've just got over the line. But I think that's down to the fact that we've got more pace in our back four than we've had in years. And you can't rely on resilience to get you out of a hole every game. Sooner or later, you're going to get undone. So we need Van der Ven back. And let's hope we get Dragusin in. I think we will still get him. I think there's a lot of... You always get all this in transfer. Players signing. Oh, now he isn't. Players signing. Oh, now there's a problem. Players signing. And this is clickbait as well, guys. We shouldn't fall for all this. Because the important thing is terms were agreed with Dragusin. I'm wandering off the game now. Terms were agreed with Dragusin, and the player wants to play in the Premier League. That does it for me. So now you're just talking about the fee. Spurs won't be held to ransom now that Van der Ven's fit, though. And especially if you've got Phillips and Dorrington, So anyway, I wandered off. Back to you guys.
Mrs. Roca, just before you sign off there are actually 2 points you made, 2 very good points you made, which I might add, which I would just like to add to it, if I may. You were talking about the substitutes earlier. One of these substitutes, Jamie Donnelly. Jamie Donnelly, who came on for Bentancur in the 83rd minute, What did you make of his limited minutes after he came on for Bentancur? And did he help the shape of our midfield in any way upon coming on for Bentancur?
It's hard to judge a player with so few minutes, isn't it? He had a chance, though, didn't he? I think he had a chance that he missed. Yeah,
I believe it was Sessegnon, wasn't it? It was, I do remember Sessegnon had an effort that was saved.
What I like about Sessegnon, I know if he goes, he goes. Like what I like about him, though, even before, he's a winger like Solomon. He's not one of these head down, charge down the line wingers, hit a hopeful crossing. He's got vision. He looks up. I like my players to have vision, pace, and they can make things happen. And he's got the ability to do that. So that's what I like about him. I think he may have a future at the club. He may not. You know, other people say, oh, he's made of glass, get rid of him. Let's see. You know, I mean, like, while he's here, though, let's see if Ange can get a tune out of him or not. I mean, you know, I'm pretty sure that other players that have come back haven't got a future at the club, you know. So it's a wait and see. I understand fans saying just get rid, you know, and get some money for him. We will get money for him. He's a homegrown player. There'll be no shortage of takers for Ryan Sessegnon, you know.
So that was the first substitute. That was the first substitute that I wanted to bring up, the Jamie Donnelly. And then this is more important here. Bryan Gil on for Lo Celso in the 58th minute. Did that actually play a very pivotal part leading up to Porro's screamer?
I like the player. I like the fact that he's got such.
So do I.
He's got such quick feet. I mean, Paul Scholes had quick feet. If he was given a midfield role, which he won't because we've got an abundance of talents in that role, I think he'd win us loads of free kicks. I remember I was talking on another chat yesterday on Sean Butler's talk show yesterday about the fact that when Modric come a club, he wasn't the first trusted to hold a central midfield position, their key positions. And what British coaches tend to do is put the player out on the left. They always put that skillful player out on the left till he earns enough trust to maybe moved inside. And Modric came inside. I think Hill could do that job, but I just don't think there's time. We haven't got time to experiment with him. I think he will go, but unless Ange convinces him to stay, I think he'll go. I think it's more likely that Lo Celso will stay now and Hill will go. Because Lo Celso's loving it apparently.
So do you actually reckon that there will ever be time to experiment with Bryan?
I'm sort of contradicting myself now because I believe we're experimenting with Brennan Johnson. so like, you know, I don't know. He's going to be a bench player. Do I think he'll get in a team if Solomon was fit? No. I think Solomon's bigger and stronger. And still need to see more of him. I just don't see a future.
As do we all.
I don't see a future for Gil. I mean, I think he'll be sold. There'll be no shortage of takers for him abroad. See if we can get our money back on him. Would I like him to stay? Well, if I would, because I think he's got a talent. But the beauty of it is that when everyone's fit, we've got a nice selection headache. So that's why Angie's paid the money to sort it out, isn't he? I mean, like.
And right on cue, Mr. Stroker, as you're bringing on a selection headache, I believe Senor Garcia has some very interesting transfer news or updates for all the viewers and the rest of the panel as well to share, which I think will radically and drastically transform the remainder of our January transfer business.
I'm not going to touch on anything like that. Yeah, I'm not going to touch on anything like that until later on. We're discussing the game first and foremost. Excuse me. But so just go to catch up with the chat. You've got Adrian, who's here with us and said good afternoon. Also, he come on and said good afternoon and hit the likes as he normally does. Wayne Bonner, hello everyone. Hope you're all well. Our march to
hi Wayne, hi Audio, hi Tequila.
Home where it belongs has started. Audio, good afternoon, sir. He says, did you notice Gil planting a kiss on Porro's neck during the goal celebrations? Is that a Spanish thing?
I hope so.
Normally it's on the side of the face, but he did it on the neck. Good afternoon, Tequila. We're not really getting Timo right. We can discuss that later. And then you've got Chan showing love for audio. Right. So I said this. Go on.
I just wanted to mention, because I don't think you got a mention. I don't know if you mentioned the freezing. I just want to give a little mention from facts on Alejo Velez. If fans don't know out there, I mean, the reason we went after him was because, and he does look a striker in the making, is because he got 19 goals in 62 games, which is virtually a 1 in 3 strike rate, which is very good strike rate for a young player. So just in case we've got a few doubters out there, I just wanted to put that out there. You're muted, Jose.
Yeah, I can see. So we did a show match reaction after the game last night when we made the announcement about us being able to be monetized with memberships and super chats. And during that show, our initial thoughts, Chan, I think you watched, it was me, Colin, and Ash. And we
I saw every minute of it.
Yeah, we initially made our comments on last night's game. I've slept on it now. And after sleeping on it, I don't think I was far wrong in the assessment that I made last night from what I saw on television. And from my understanding, from what I've heard from Adrian so far, I don't think I was far wrong in what my assessment was yesterday. Slept on it, my assessment is still the same now. And my assessment yesterday, Adrian, because you weren't with us, you were probably coming back from the game. Excuse me. My assessment yesterday was, I don't care, we're through the 4th round. and so our name's in the hat in the 4th round. And my assessment yesterday was Vicario did what he had to do, good with his feet, commanding presence in goal. Didn't have much to do, but whatever he had to do, he did it right. Mm-hmm. I thought the defence as a unit were outstanding yesterday. They got an A+ from me, the whole 4. As a unit, I thought we played really well. I thought in midfield we were workmanlike, and up front we were Keystone Cops. That was my assessment yesterday, and I have no reason to change that assessment today. And I watched it on TV. Adrian, you were at the game. You're more or less, you didn't say anything different to what my assessment was from last night. But what I was going to say is I wanted to go and score the players on how you guys viewed the players. So, yeah, so we won the game 1-0, right? Adrian, out of 10, what would you score Vicario?
I would give him a 7, even though he didn't have much to do, and people would give him a lower score. But the reason I'd give him a 7 just for his presence. You know, he gives us so much confidence. He gives that back 4. They can play well knowing he's behind him. So I'd be generous and give him a 7.
Chang?
For Vicario, I think I'll give him a 8. Actually, I'm not trying to one up you, Mr. Soroka, but I would actually give Vicario an 8 because I thought his presence at the back alone was a calming presence for that makeshift back 4 of Porro, Royal, Davis, and Udogie, and especially I have to highlight this, Sessegnon, when he came on later on, because I saw clips. I saw this clip taken by a fan post-match of how Vicario was vehemently telling Sessegnon off to his face in front of both sets of players after the final whistle. And it could be something Sessegnon did wrong. It could be something that he might have been over-exuberant about, which might have led to an equalizer at the very end, or it could even have been a mistake by Sessegnon that led to the corner, that last gasp corner, that saw the Burnley keeper rush up to our end of the goal. Whatever it is, I have not seen this kind of sort of camaraderie, this kind of brotherhood amongst the kind of our defense. And I really do hope that Vicario had another huddle. He had yet another clean sheet huddle with his entire back line. Regardless if you are a starter or a substitute, if we did have that huddle, the clean sheet celebration with them, that for me is a very big step in the right direction of how our sweeper keeper should be all about. That's how I rate Vicario anyway.
Cool. I'm just gonna say Chris Peters, who's a member.
Hi, Chris,
after you
Mr.
guys in
M,
the
hi,
chat.
David Shear.
And
Hi,
we've got
Scott.
David Shear, another member who joined us yesterday in the show.
There he is. There he is. David Shear everywhere. I just told him. I told David Shear this on Tottenham on tour. He's everywhere. He goes everywhere. I'm not going to make any kind of fun or analogies about it, but David Shear is just everywhere on any.
A bit like us.
Channels.
Adrian, just so you know, I'm going to repeat this last night. So what we've got is we've got 3 memberships, Adrian, and the first membership is called Jarl membership because all the Americans and Ash, she says Jarl, and so we thought they call each other Jarl. So we did Jarl as the first membership. The second membership we did was a mate membership because Ange and everyone says, all right, mate, and mate in every sentence. And the third membership that we did was the Cobber membership because David Shear is such a great supporter of all the channels that, and he always says Cobber to everyone, that we've called the third membership Cobber. and we've done that. And then David Shear has said, "G'day, Cobbers," in the chat. So there we are. And Mr. M's here as well. He's saying hello to us all. Oops, I'm going to jump in. Yep, we got Mr. M. And we also have Daniel Sandoval here, the chef who is in the kitchen with Paratici, as confirmed in yesterday's show. So yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. So yeah, with Vicario. So Adrian, you said 7. Chan, you said 8. I've gone for a 7 with Vicario.
Join in the chat, please. Put your scores in the chat. Yeah, we want you to engage with the channel. Yeah.
So yeah, I've gone 7 for Vicario. I just think that Vicario, he had an early effort from Odebert, which he saved, and then after that, he didn't have nothing to do. That's the only shot they had on target. That's the only shot they had on target, and from Odebert, and he made the save. And then after that, he played. Yeah, he had little very else to do, but his presence is such a calming presence, and he sorts everyone out. He's not scared to tell people what it is, and he manhandles people as well. We've seen him; he pushes people and pulls people about. Obviously, you're at the game, Adrian. You can see this all the time, and especially if they're taking a corner or something's happening, and you're near one of the goals, you can see it straight away. He does, doesn't he? He just pulls everyone around. It's superb. He's commanding.
Yeah. He's not a continental goalkeeper that comes out and fists the ball. If it's catchable, he'll catch it.
Yeah.
And he lets the opponent strikers know he's coming as well because he's not small.
So we move on then. Adrian, Pedro Porro.
9. I thought, he impresses me more every time I see him play now. 9. I would give him an 8, but that goal, he gets a 9 for that. So, what more can you say? His all-round game, his passing, he's got great technique. So 9 for me.
Chan?
As the match winner and probably my man of the match, having scored that pile driver of a screamer, I'm going to give him a big fat 10. I think there's no other way around it. I have to be honest with you, and I have to apologize right here, right now to Miss Ash, if you are watching this either live now or in playback later, that I was actually fearful this might be our first match this season in which we actually fail to score from open play in the full 90 minutes for the first time ever in all competitions. That was my only fear. It wasn't. I wasn't even dreading a replay or a second leg or whatever in the future if this does end in a draw. But not scoring in the 90 minutes without any of our captains any of our leadership groups, so to speak. Son's out, Romero is out, and Madison is still to recover. So none of the leadership were there. I was expecting Ben Davis to actually step up and be captain, but it suddenly went to Benson Core. So Pedro Porras really saved all our weekends. Can we just all agree on that? And because of that, his Bill-esque, I would rate Pedro Porras' battering ram of a strike very, very similar to what we've seen from Bill do time and time again over a dozen years ago, that just got us out of jail. 70th minute, 80th minute, 90th minute, that final game he had with us at the lane when we were neck and neck with that lot down the road for that final 4th place. It just had I have not seen that kind of goal from that distance with that kind of quality behind it for a good long while. So for that alone, Porro gets a 10 for me.
Okay. Before I go on to give my version for Porro, I just wanted to say, to update everybody, that there are 5 games currently taking place in the FA Cup, and they're all at half time. And it's Wimbledon 1, Ipswich 2, Coventry 3, Oxford 1, Maidstone United, who are the lowest ranked team in the FA Cup at the moment, 1, Stevenage 0. And it's Millwall 0, Leicester 2. And half-time has just gone half-time. Sunderland 0, Newcastle 1. So that's your updates at the moment for the FA Cup in the in the 5 games that are being played early kickoffs. The rest of the kickoffs all start at 3 o'clock, so normal time here in England. Just in case everyone didn't know, Talking Ball is now monetized. We can accept super chats, and memberships are now available. Right, for me, I'm going to go with the Porro, and I have gone for a 9 with Porro. He worked the way down that right, and he made an absolutely majestical goal out of nothing. And his all-round play, he just seems to be... Okay, let me take this. Without the goal, right, regardless, without the goal, Porro just looks like he's getting better and better and better. The coaching that he's been given and he's learnt on the training pitches has been immense. He's learnt both facets of the game. For me, he's improved his defensive qualities, but also, for me, he's improved his attacking qualities as well. He very rarely... and I mean rarely, ever gets a decision wrong in the sense of to pass short, to pass long, to tackle, to stand up, to get across him. He rarely makes a decision wrong. He's one of the most improved players for me at Tottenham under this coaching regime that he's had so far. So, and his goal, like we said yesterday, out of this world, his goal. So for Porro, I am giving him a 9. So Chan's gone 10. We've both gone 9. Just catching up with people in the chat. You have who's gone? Someone put a score. So David Shear's gone 7.5 for Porro, and he went 7 for Vicario. Okay.
Going to get Jasmine.
And David Shear's gone 9. David Shear has gone 9 because of the goal. He's put 7.5 and then gone 9 because of the goal, Adrian.
Hi, Mia, in the channel.
And then we also have...
Mia's got a super chat, by the way.
I know, I'm going to get to it. I've got a hi from Dirty Sanchez. So hi, Dirty Sanchez. And then we have Mia. Thank you very much, Mia. Big up. Congrats on the membership and supers. Thank you, Mia. God bless. I hope that you're well. I haven't caught up with you yet, apart from I sent you a New Year's message, and that was it. So I haven't caught up with you. So I hope all is well. Thank you very much. And we go to Emerson, Adrian. You watched the game live at the stadium. What were your thoughts on Emerson, mate?
Good. I'd give him an 8. I mean, he was combative. He was chasing down players. You know, I mean, like, you can't fault his effort and he always tries his best, doesn't he? I've got to see more from him, like regarding his technique and passing range and things like that, to think that like he's got a future. Maybe his future does like centre back, where he can keep it short rather than right back, because in the final third his delivery is poor. You know, his passing's poor. So, but I can't fault him yesterday. He played well, so he gets an 8 from me.
Chan?
For Emerson, I'm going to go for a 7 for him. I think he didn't put a foot wrong at the back. He didn't offer much going forward because, of course, yes, his role is completely different now under this makeshift defense. What I would say that he did look solid whenever Burnley pushed up, especially towards the end, the goal mouth melee for that late scramble. I thought he redeemed himself for whatever shortcomings we thought of him in the past. And of course, our apologies. Bear with me a moment.
Right,
There we go.
you back?
Yeah, I think Emerson Royal deserves a 7, and it's good to see him keep a clean sheet finally in centre back once again. And of course, I would really look forward to the return of Mickey Van der Ven, which I didn't know why he wasn't brought on, but I think that's all for the better. Looking ahead at the next league game, so for Royal, he gets a 7 from me.
It's interesting that people's takes on players, sometimes they're influenced by their natural bias to whether they like a player or not. So it's interesting. I'm not a fan of him. I'm not a fan of him.
Sorry, Mr. So, I have a weird view on this. It could be possible that players, or rather, fans from different sections of the crowd, or even viewing the match from different perspectives, we saw the match live on telly or on our screens, whatever, and then the people who are actually there at the stadium, they see things for a completely whole different perspective. They see players making runs, making off the ball movements that we, armchair viewers don't see ourselves from the comfort of our own home, and perhaps that does lend some magnitude to whatever rating they are proposing.
So we've got Mia here. Hello, Mia.
Happy New Year to you all.
And you,
Good
and
New
your
Year,
family
Mia.
and friends.
How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
What are your thoughts on yesterday, Mia?
It was a tough game. I felt we were a bit slow. I felt we weren't quick enough when it comes to being that final third. I felt we were a bit wasteful, but we got the job done thanks to Porro being an absolute superstar. What an absolute brilliant goal. But it was an enjoyable game. It wasn't an enjoyable game to watch, as we have had games obviously that are really fun to watch. I think though we've got to remember we haven't got all our players. We are playing a bit of a slightly adjusted, I think, way, because the players we've got at the back aren't as good at bringing out the ball. When you think Romero, he's very good at bringing out the ball, and a lot of the time he's on the edge of the box. So we haven't got that as much with the players that we've got in currently. The midfield, obviously, we're missing Sarr massively. Sarr was a huge miss yesterday because he is that glue. He can get back, he runs. He makes tackles, he dribbles the ball. So I think that we were missing Sarr massively, and of course Sonny. I think that Son's a massive miss for us too. But I think that overall it's a bit of disjointed kind of game, but we got it done.
And what would you give? So we're currently on Emerson. What would you give him if you had to rate him out of 10, Mia?
I think Emerson did well yesterday. I'll probably give him an 8 because I think he did okay. I think he did well. I think that, Joe, what I would say, right, a lot of people have got this thing about Emerson and they concentrate on things that he's done and they don't actually, because they don't like him, they go, he did this wrong. And then, but you go, but this player actually lost the ball more than Emerson. And like when you actually look at it, you're like, he actually didn't lose the ball as much as so and so, or he didn't make as many mistakes as so and so. But because they've got this tunnel vision where they concentrate only on Emerson because they're not very keen on him, where I try and be fair, he's not the best player. Absolutely not. But I think to give him his dues, yesterday, I think he did a really good job. I thought he was really good yesterday.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Just to go in before I give him mine, David Shear's gone in 8.5 for Emerson. Chris Peters says 8. Big up from Bob Down Under, saying big up to all of us. And David Shear, thank you, has kindly gifted a membership to Mr. M. So thank you, David Shear and Mr. M. Due to David Shear, you now are a member. So with Emerson, I've also Emma Goat Royale, I've given him 8 as well. And the reason why I've given him 8, I thought Emerson was absolutely immense yesterday. The amount I saw Emerson covering from left to right, I saw him covering the whole of that back line. He seemed to be a blanket yesterday for Tottenham. He had a really good game. His decision making was correct yesterday. His passing was a lot better yesterday, and he made the right decision. It's all about his passing. His decision making was absolutely superb yesterday. I was really, really pleased, and I'm happy he had a good game, because all these, as Mia said, all these people that just don't like him and that, you know, you need players. You need all types of players to make a team, and Emerson played really well yesterday. I'm so pleased for him. Adrian, Ben Davies, how did he do for you, mate?
8. He gets an 8 from me. He has been so good in the last 5 games. He's upped his game. All right, he lacks that extra bit of quality when it comes to getting forward, but he's just showing his experience. He's proved to be a good stopgap. He's got another year on his contract. Keep him as a squad player. He might be player 18, 19, 20 or something like that in the squad, but I would keep him. Yeah, he's making good timely interceptions. He's upped his game. I mean, normally he was a steady 6. You'd say all throughout the season. He's upped it when he's coming for Van der Ven. He's done well. He's no Mickey Van der Ven, obviously, but he played really well yesterday, and I'm giving him an 8.
Chan.
I think there'll be many here surprised to hear me giving Ben Davies a big fat 9, and there's a very good reason to why I'm giving him a 9 here. Okay, so just hear me out. When the starting 11 was announced, and I saw Ben Davies in the lineup, and he did not get the expected captaincy, which I had actually brought up on Mr. Clark's pre-match show an hour before kickoff. The first thing I thought to my mind was, now that Hugo is gone, bear in mind that Ben Davies is now the longest serving member in our current squad. Having said that, by all rights and means, the captaincy should then fall to the player who is now then the longest serving player, which in the past went to people like Kabul, whether he liked it or not, put it this way. So Ben Davies not getting captaincy, seeing that captain's armband go to someone like Kulusevski, who has hardly had any game time at all this entire season. Keep that in mind, okay? The captain's armband goes to Bentancur. Ben Davies doesn't get the captain's armband, and he couldn't care less. His love for the club, his commitment to this, yeah, is more than any captaincy or vice captaincy or any role anyone could bestow upon him. That's how professional and level-headed and such a wonderful human being. That's all I can say. And From what I saw anyway, in the full 90 minutes, I don't think he did put a foot wrong. From what I saw, I'm not sure if there were any defensive lapse of concentration from him. He didn't make any monumental mistakes that might have led to a counter attack or a dangerous build up for Burnley. So, with all that in mind, for me, Ben Davies, you get a 9 from me.
I had a caveat to your captaincy theory, right? Which is, as I know, I get where you're coming from, but if Brian Gill had been the longest serving player at the club, you wouldn't give him the captaincy, would you?
Do you think Brian Gill will actually become our longest serving player somewhere down the line?
No, I don't. But I'm just throwing that in, right? Just throwing that in because it's got to be a player you think. It didn't bother me that Bentancur got it or Davies because, I mean, I don't think captains' roles are more off-field now. I think they're more diplomacy and press conferences and things like that than they are actually on the field. I've always been a believer if you're a player, you should be self-motivating and you shouldn't need a captain to tell you. And when you've got other players around you to tell you whether you're doing it right or wrong. But I'm just old school that way.
Okay, can I just also caveat your caveat for players?
Hang on. Let's give Mira a chance to talk about Davies.
I think I'd give him a 7.5 because I think he did well. I don't think he did anything wrong. I think he's been good for us. I think he's come in and done a job. And I think people, again, they kind of blame anything that happens in a game. That's how it's Davies' fault. When you actually look at it, it's actually not been him. I think he's done really well. So, yeah, yesterday I thought he did a good job. They didn't concede a goal. He got a few head times. He got that ball and he got it out. So yeah, I think he did a good job yesterday, and I do like Davies. I think that he's a bit of a steady Eddie, isn't he? He's like I always say, he's a bit of a vanilla ice cream. If you're really desperate for ice cream, you would eat the vanilla. For me, it's not my first choice, of course not. But if I'm hungry enough and I want ice cream enough, I'll eat it.
Fantastic. Sorry, Chan, you were going to caveat the caveat by saying to Adrian.
Correct. No. Just wanted to add something very quick that in order for a certain player to have served that long to even qualify as longest serving player for the club, in any case, for whatever club, there has to be certain attributes as to why the club would even retain this player for that long of a period. Mm-hmm. Just my caveat, that's all. Back to you, Senor Garcia.
Right, so for me, I've gone in with a 8 for Davies is what I've picked. I thought Davies played well. I'm actually surprised because that people are giving Davies a higher rating for yesterday's match, or that you've given a higher rating. One of you have anyway, a higher rating than what you gave Emerson, because I thought without the goal, I thought our best defender yesterday was Emerson. But with Porro, with the goal, he then jumps up to a 9 for me with the goal. But otherwise, the three so far would have given them all an 8 each. But Porro got the 9 because of the goal. So we move on to Udogie, Adrian.
I like this player. I really like this player. He's got to be the best left back in the Premier League on this current season's form, isn't he? Yeah, Udogie he gave us his normal above average performance that he gives us. I mean, you don't see him have a poor game. He is a tank, isn't he? I mean, for his age, and he gets an 8 for me. I just thought he tried to push us upfield like he always does, So no, he gets an 8 for me. He's Mr. Consistency.
Okay, so sorry, we just got Chem62. Hi, hope you're really well. She's another one that goes to the games. And her comment is, hi all in the panel in the chat. We're into the next round of the FA Cup. The difference was that we scored a worldie and they did not, which is more or less our summarization of the game at the start of the show. And Chan, what are you scoring for Udogie, or what are your thoughts? Sorry, Adrian, what did you score in the end for Udogie?
8.
8. Go on then, Chan, what do you think?
Exactly the same. A big fat 8 for Udogie as well. Again, just like the other members of the backline, I don't think he did put a foot wrong. Although I'm struggling to I'm struggling to recollect if he did supply any crosses that led to any big chances leading
None.
up. Yeah, so yeah, I think defensively he was solid. Going forward, maybe not so, because he didn't have his regular centre backs behind him to cover. So maybe there was that guarded sort of precautionary going through his mind to not give away any stupid fouls, not pick up any unnecessary yellow or even red cards from now on to the end of the season. So that might have been playing on his mind, because I'm sure that by now he is very well aware that this is our best chance of silverware for the remainder of the season. So yes, I absolutely I completely get where the backline is coming from yesterday and why they were rather reluctant to push forward at times. But for me, Udogie, you get an 8.
And Mia,
Yeah, he gets an 8 from me. The Joel lets him down is in the box. He has opportunities. I think he had a chance. He sort of was set quite well, and he doesn't take it on. He always seems to just pass instead of just like actually thinking, "I've got a chance. I'll take a shot." But yeah, he's great. I love him. He's strong. He's quick. He gets back. He'll be in the box 1 minute, and then he'll get back like literally 60 seconds later. He'll be back defending. He's an absolute beast, and he's still growing because he's still so young. So it's crazy that he's got more growing to do. He's got more experience to gain. So yeah, he's fantastic. I love Destiny.
got David Shear saying, love the team spirit out there, celebrating the small actions too. And then you have David Shear also saying, I'm delusional. Are we on for the double? And for me, well, the thing is, with what David's saying, is the possibilities are there. It's not beyond the realms. The possibilities are there. We're 6 points behind 5th place, and we're in the 4th round of the FA Cup. So at this present moment in time, the winner of the league is going to come from the top 5. It's as simple as. The FA Cup, we're in the next round. So it then means we're in the last 32. So we're definitely in the hat for the last 32. I think there's 2 of us. It was Fulham that went in the hat last night, and so did we, because the 2 other games have been draws so far. So currently we're one of 2 teams that are definitely in the last 32. So yeah, as I said, it's not beyond the realms. And then you also have Ken's coming in with an 8 for Davison and a 9 for Udogie. He is a beast, so strong. And you've got, looks like Timo will be in London on Monday and available for Man U. And then you've got David Shear says that this was actually the first match that he watched on Paramount. He loved the tough match and can only watch the FA, unfortunately, on, well, I presume he's saying on Paramount. So we move on to, with Udogie, yeah, I went for an 8. Adrian, Lolo.
6. He still lacks that bit of sharpness when we see the best of him. He's a superb footballer. What I like about him is he always, Alexa, stop. I don't know if she started. Right. Yeah. What I like about Bentancur, when he's got the ball, he's always looking to drive forward, isn't he? And he'll always look for that pass. What I want to see from him is more goals. If we're going to have any chance of a league, not this season or next, our midfielders have got to chip in. I'll come to that later, my theory on that. But, it didn't help. I don't think it helped his game yesterday, Skip being on the field with him. But so, a 6 for me. He will, and that's probably his bottom level of 6, Bentancur.
Okay, and for you, Chan?
Okay, before I give my rating, I'm just going to add something to what Mrs. Roca said about Bentancur. You were speaking about goals coming from Bentancur. Well, we finally saw the first goal from Porro this season. I am confident as long as Bentancur gets a run of games in the starting 11 for the next maybe few consecutive games, hopefully the goals will come from him. Of that, I have absolutely no doubt between now to the end of the season. Of that, I'm willing to put my life savings on that. That's how confident I'm feeling Bentancur is going to get a goal. But as far as ratings go, I'm going to give Bentancur a 7 here. Why I'm giving him a 7 and not a 6 or an 8? I thought that he was actually filling in 2 roles. Bentancur was actually filling in for 2 people here, himself and Skip, who was just second to every ball, every second ball, every loose pass. It was like, oh my God, it was like, at times it felt like Bentancur was just holding Skip's hand and leading him along like a toddler. That's just how bad I felt for Skip, and just how amazed I am at Bentancur being able to do just that without Bissouma, without a Sar, or even without a Højbjerg behind him. So for that alone, I'm going to give Bentancur a 7.
And over to you, Mia.
Yeah, I'll give a 7 as well. I think that Benny is just getting back. You can see he looks tired. He's not back to the full fitness of a match, but I think he did some really good things. I think that he capitalized a couple of times when they tried to get out. We won the ball back. He won it back quick. He'd pass it quick. And like Chang has said, like at the end of the day, he was doing 2-man's job, because Skip was absolutely appalling this day. He was basically invisible. So Benny had to work double hard. So yeah, I think he did well yesterday, considering he's just coming back from such a injury where he's obviously been out for a bit and then come in and got injured straight away. So yeah, and I think Benny did good. He did good.
Yeah, I echo the comments that the 3 of you have made, and I scored. Let me read about that. I scored Lolo, the Capitan. I spelled it in Spanish because he's obviously Uruguayan. So Lolo, my Capitan, got 7. I'm so happy that he was made captain. It's what Ash and I had been saying for the last couple of days, that we wanted to see Lolo be our captain. I think that he commands, for everything that he's been through, he's been the ultimate professional. And I think it shines, and other people throughout the club can see this. And he has an aura about him. When he plays football, he makes football look so easy, and he makes others around him look better, or they should look better. Yesterday wasn't one of the cases in point where others around him looked a lot better, apart from the defenders did. They looked $1 million yesterday, defenders. But I thought Lolo played well. He never gave the ball away. There was one time that I thought that they were going to foul him, and he got the foul. I don't know if you remember, Adrian and guys on the panel, when there was 3 players around him, and he tried to do the step over with the heels and that, and got away from them. And as he got away from them, someone fouled him, so he got the foul. He's just a steady player, and I'm glad that he got the minutes that he got yesterday, which go with the minutes that he got in the previous game, because it was all a surprise to us that he was back. And you know, it's his road to recovery to the next game now to Man United. So another week on the training pitch. And his road onto recovery. I've always maintained, whilst he was injured, before he got injured, I even said this last season, Bentancur, if he has a really good season, but now it can only be half a season, he will then be classed as world class. He is such a good footballer, and he's one of the players that we have at the club that I think walks into any midfield of any Premiership side. And I went as far as saying, I think he walks into Real Madrid, walks into Barca, walks into whoever's top of the Italian league. He walks into Bayern Munich. Lolo is a top footballer, and we are so lucky to have him. And for me, once he gets to full fitness, and you play better when you've got better players around you. And once we get Maddison back and people like that, once we get these players back, it'll be so good to see what our team can actually do. So for me, Lolo gets a 7. Moving
Can
on
I quickly just add something to what you just said, Senor Garcia?
Yeah,
a lot of people don't actually realize this, but it's almost been 2 years now. It's almost been 2 years since Bentancur joined us in 2022. That's how fast time has flown by, if anyone is still keeping track. And we actually take for granted that Bentancur, he was the reason why we got Champions League the season before. And this season, he has been a big miss injury. Make no mistake about that. I was fearing the worst for Matthew Cash when he did. I'm still adamant he did injure Bentancur on purpose. I will die on this hill about that. I cannot wait to see how Bentancur is going to deal with Matthew Cash in the return fixture. Back to you, Sino Garcia.
It's over to Adrian. We're going to Lo Celso. Adrian.
7. He's stepped up his game recently, hasn't he?
Sorry. David Shear's got a 7 for Bentancur. I'm missing this. And Chem62 says Bentancur 7. He's class on the ball. Always finds the player in. He's a great captain. Eugene is coming and saying, hi, big up everyone. Happy New Year. Leave you out. And he says that he's currently watching the FA Cup at the moment. Nice to have you here, Eugene. David Shear about Lolo says rehab is a bugger and lonely, and he's been through a lot, which is quite right. And then David also goes to say, imagine the development for Sarr and Kulu, etc. beside him. Sorry, I just wanted to catch up, and that's all to do with Bentancur. So we're now on Lo Celso, Adrian.
Yeah, 7 for me. He's shown the quality that we know he's always got. I mean, I liked him before he came to Spurs. I had actually seen him play. I know when we got in, I hadn't seen the other fellow who eats the burgers. I hadn't seen him play, but yeah. I mean, I've always known. I mean, he was in the Argentinian squad. I mean, McAllister wouldn't have played if he'd have been fit, apart from me being Messi's mate. He's a quality footballer, but we need to see that he can, withstand the rigors of the Premier League and not be injury prone or get injured every half a dozen games, because he's shown promise a couple of times in the past. He did when he first come, then got injured. Then he showed a bit of promise again and got injured. Then Mourinho got him signed permanently. It's Mourinho who wanted him, so because he was still on loan. And then he's had all these injuries and gone out again. Now he's come back, and let's hope his injury problems are behind him. If he is, we know Ange likes him, so he's got another year on his contract, I think, anyway. So we're not going to take any silly bids of 15, 20 million for him if McAllister can go to Liverpool for 35 million. I hope we don't entertain silly bids for him. The offers that have been coming for him have been derisory, 15 mil or something like that. No way. So, and he finds a pass, doesn't he? And he can slip a player and he finds a pass. I mean, he can beat the press as well, so he's got the game to do really well, but I need to see more of it. I believe we will see more of it. We will see more of it if he stays injury prone. If he can stay injury prone, keep him. So he gets a 7 for me.
Dan, over to you.
Yep. Lo Celso also gets a big 7 from me. Before I go into why I'm giving him a 7, I'm going to just start by saying a player will not be headhunted by Barcelona if that Catalan club doesn't feel that you're worthy of wearing their jersey. So, having said that, I really still feel that Lo Celso has a future here at Spurs. I just hope he just doesn't get tempted to take off and leave at a moment's notice. He did go on record saying that having a kid really just changed his whole perspective of life. And I really hope that does help him turn a corner here at Spurs. Having said that, I'm also giving him a 7 because I thought that he was our best creative outlet from the midfield, from center. He was playing passes left, right, and center whenever he deemed fit and necessary. There is one thing that I would just like to add, though, and this might come as a bit of a sour note. When Bentancur was eventually then brought off for Bryan Gil in the 58th minute, his body language, or rather the way he carried himself off the pitch, the way he, planted himself on the bench. I wouldn't read too much into that. It's just one game, and he might be, having a long week before the match itself. But there were some sort of it's either his not well too pleased to being taken off before we did eventually score our opener, and or he could also be still carrying a niggling injury that he's trying his best to hide, which I hope really isn't the case, because we can ill afford another lapse of injuries for Benson Cole. But just from the shift alone that he put in, the way he orchestrated the midfield all by with alongside Benson Cole, he gets a 7 from me.
And Mia.
He'll get a 7.5 from me. I think that I want to see more from him. I want to see him consistently doing stuff, but I think that yesterday he did try. He did again have to put up with having Skip there, which makes his life not that much easier. So yeah, no, I do think he tried yesterday. He had a couple of times where he had like some half kind of sort of chances ish. But yeah, and I think he was right yesterday, Lo Celso. I think that Joe, what I love about him, I love the fire in his belly, because when he gets riled up, and I bloody love that. Like what he did to what's his name, Haaland, and then what he did when Valise, he was like proper getting angry when like they were obviously moaning about him going down, and he was getting well involved. So he has got that feistiness, and I think we need that a bit in our team, and I think he adds to it. So yeah, I want Lo Celso to come good, and he seems happy from what he said. The comments he said, he seems to be happy. So long may it continue for him to carry on the way he's been doing.
I was surprised he was substituted, Mia, wasn't you? I mean, maybe Millie Jelinek up there doing the analytics. Maybe he was running out of gas, but I didn't see that. Did you? I mean, like,
I just think that he wanted, because the thing is, we play high intensity, so he does like to make those changes. I think that maybe he thought he's been playing a lot more games, and we're going to have games coming up. So I know we've got a big gap, but I think that he obviously maybe wanted to switch it up a little bit, because it wasn't that great. Let's be honest, all of them weren't that great yesterday. So yeah, I think that he wanted a fresh pair of legs on, and he was someone who obviously had to be sacrificed to do that, because it meant that then Kulu could come in the middle. So it's the only logical one to do that, because if Hill has to come on, someone has to go in the middle, and the only person to logically come on would be to do that is Kulu, which means switching over. So I suppose it's like the logic of what he was trying to do, bringing on Hill.
Yeah.
And David Shear says, sorry, 7 for Gio. He was fouled a lot last night and he dug in. And then he's saying that Gio also showing disappointment could also mean he wants to be here. And Kem, who's at the game as well, Lo Celso 6 only in this game, has been better, just not on it so much in this game. Got kicked a lot in this game, and he might have got a knock. I have gone for Gio, and bearing in mind I did these all last night. El Monito, Lo Celso, I've given him a 6. And the reason why I gave him a 6 is I thought he played all right. I didn't think he shone. But I think it was all to do with the chemistry between the midfield three, which meant that he could have scored higher for me, but it's the chemistry between the midfield three. And also what I saw yesterday, and I should have known this, right? But I mean, I don't know how maybe it's seen in the stadium, but on the telly you could definitely see it. He's really all left foot, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't got a right peg at all, and he doesn't. It's as if he's afraid to use his right leg, because there was times that he had the ball and he drifted across. And I remember one time he's just drifting across the middle of the pitch, and he turned awkwardly because he went to the right, but was playing with the ball on the left, and he just looked completely awkward. And I thought to myself, all he had to do was open up and just even a short pass with his right foot, he would have found the doggy out on the wing and stuff like that. So yesterday I saw for definite about his one leg.
Well, that left foot has gone high for goal. The goal against Man City. I mean, it's only him and Maddison who really score for us in midfield. So, like, yeah, I'd want to keep him because he will get you a few goals each season.
Yeah, listen, I've got nothing, Adrian. I've got nothing against it. I like El Monito. I think he's a superb player. And I'm glad that he's getting a run in the team and that he feels that he's got a home, which he hasn't felt in the past few years because we've always farmed him out. A lot of us theorists will turn around and say that he was bought by a manager who would play progressive football under Pochettino, but Pochettino left. The only other manager we've had since then that plays progressive football is Ange. The ones in between don't play progressive football, so he was never going to be able to showcase what he does because he wouldn't have fitted their systems. I want Lo Celso to work out.
Yeah, so do I.
Like you said, Adrian, right? Had the guy not been injured, he would have been quite possibly, a World Cup winner now, and he would have joined Romero as a World Cup champion, bar for his injury. And if it wasn't for his injury, then the likes of McAllister and Alvarez may not have been so, and Fernandes even, may not have been as prominent as they were for Argentina in the World Cup, because Argentina had to change their systems and had to change their players and playing style when he got injured. So long may it continue.
Yeah, and let's hope that his happiness grows into a love for the club like other players. I mean, like we know Son loves the club, every part of his body. We know Porro does when he was first shown around the stadium. You know, when you see when they sign and their face lights up and all that, like he was like, we know Udogie and Sarr and Vicaria of the same ilk. You know, we know
Bentancur's gone out,
and you know, when the squad are happy, when they're all so happy and they're happy under Ange Ball and all that, it doesn't matter who comes in for them. If they know they're going to go another club that plays a different brand of football, they ain't going to want to go. This is all good. It all augurs well for our future.
Yeah. So, your next person for you, Adrian, is Oliver Skipp.
Well, I know people are going to give him a lower mark than I'm going to give him for this one because I've seen some of your early marks on the other midfield players. But I'm going to give him a 5. Like, Skipp has been a disappointment to me this season when he's come on. He's only showed flashes. I actually thought he had a higher ceiling than he's got.
Adrian, look what I gave him.
Yeah. I thought he had a higher ceiling. If he's got it, he hasn't shown it. The issue we have with someone like Skipp, he might be number 20, 21 in the squad. We have actually got, when everyone's out off loan, we've got 11 homegrown. So you could choose to get 3. But 3 of those homegrown are the goalkeepers, Whiteman, Austin, and Forster. Then you've got players on the field. You've got Maddison, Johnson, Davies, and Skipp. That gives you 7. Then you had players out on loan. You've got Roden and Spence, and then you've got Tanganga. That gives you 10. And I'm missing one. Sessegnon, 11. So we have actually got 11. So we could get rid of 3 of them. The point is, like, it's a bit like a box of chocolates when all the good ones are gone. I mean, who are you going to keep? You know, you've got to have 8, unless you bring in a homegrown. Then you could get rid of 4. But it's a question of who you keep. So people have said send him out on loan. I think we're still going to keep a player like Skipp if Højbjerg goes, just as a lower order squad player, basically. He looked out of his depth yesterday. He really did look out of his depth. And that probably had a detrimental effect on Bentancur and Lo Celso's game. You've got to have more. And you look at the bench and I'm thinking, why don't you bring... See, when I picked a team yesterday, I went a bit more attacking. And I said, Skipp might play instead of Gil. But my first team was Gil on the left and move Kulu in with Bentancur, you know, and have that really attacking midfield. I just think we would have kept the ball better. But, you know, Ange watches him. He knows what he's doing. He'd probably thought, I trust him. So I said Skipp might be the one that comes in for Hill, and that's what happened. So what can you say? He didn't do anything to impress, did he? I mean, so 5 for me.
Chan's coughing.
Okay, so it's my turn now. All right, so for Skipp, man, I'm going to go with Mr. Soroka's rating as well. I'm going to give a 5 for Oliver Skipp. And I think it's just really sad right now that I have to say this, but Oliver Skipp represents the last of our so-called old guard who's really one of our own. Harry Winks is gone. The other greater Harry has gone over to Germany, and Oliver Skip, I think, represents the last of the old guard who's truly one of our own. As for the match itself, I mean, what can I say? I was fully expecting Kulusevski to fill in midfield. I was actually fully expecting Kulu to fill in midfield, and then Brian Hill getting his start actually ahead of Skip. That didn't happen. Hill was still on the bench. Skip started, and from the first minute, there was this uneasiness. It was just this trepidation, a sort of like, I don't know, impending doom. Whenever I wouldn't say that Skip was being overly cautious, but he was so uncertain with everything he did. His positioning, his running, it always looked like, you know when you see this awkward kid on the playground who really didn't fit in anywhere, who was always undecided as to which swing or which jungle gym he's going to approach on the playground. He gave me that exact vibe every time he tried to approach the ball. He tried to run with the ball, make runs without the ball or off the ball. And then when finally he was just put out of his misery after the goal, Højbjerg came on for Skip, and I was so glad we hadn't conceded yet when Skip was still on the pitch. So just for that alone, Skip, you get 5 from me. Back to you, Senor Garcia.
And Mia.
You're being too generous. I've given him a 3.5. I mean, he might as well have had Harry Potter's invisibility cloak on him. What was the point of him? Like, I put him in the team because I didn't think Hill would start. Like, that was my honest opinion. So I was correcting my team what I selected for the starting 11, but he was absolutely invisible. He did nothing pretty much all game. I forgot he was there. At one point, I remember him touching the ball and me going, "Oh yeah, I forgot Skip's on the pitch." I actually said that because I forgot that he was there because he didn't do anything. It was just literally pointless having him on there. So yeah, he gets a 3.5 from me.
I've given him a 5. Like I said, I'd already given him a 5, and my reasoning is the other two are far better players than Skip showed yesterday. Although I will say that Skip did a lot of tracking. He followed players everywhere, and he did put tackles in and barges and lent on players and stuff like that.
Listen, my dog probably could track back and barge people. Do you know what I'm saying?
But his passing was well off, and his positioning at times was well off. So I'm giving him a 5. And the only reason why I'm giving him a 5 is because I think, like I said, at the start of the program and my thoughts after the game last night was the goalkeeper did everything he had to do. The defence was A-rate, midfield was workmanlike, and Keystone cops up front. So if I'm true to my word, then Skip's got to get a 5. So that's the reason why I've given him a 5. The chat. So we've got David Shear saying that wasn't progressive football last night. Skippy couldn't gel even then. David Shear saying Sarr will be homegrown next season.
Yeah.
How does that work? And Adrian, tell us how that works, mate.
Well, my understanding of the rules is, and someone has disputed with me, but my understanding of the rule is for 3 years, you have to be with your homegrown to qualify, be with your club 3 years before your 21st birthday. Now, Sarr was out with Metz, who got relegated, wasn't he, a couple of times and come back. So that still counts, the fact that he's loaned out, because you're still registered with your home club. Now, I'm 99.9999% I'm right on this, right? It's just and I've looked at the Premier League rules and rule there's a little bit of ambiguity there, but no, he qualifies as homegrown next year.
Sure. He does. Yeah, he
becomes. I don't know if Parrott does actually, because I'm not sure. Is Parrott 21 year or is he 20?
Parrott's 20, but you're quite right, Sarr, because he's been with us for 3 years, 4 years before his 21st birthday, becomes homegrown for us next year. And I think Parrott falls in the same line as well, because Parrott's been with us since at least 16 years of age. So Parrott would fall in that line as well.
Yeah, the good thing is a lot of our under 21 squad, because not many of them are near 21. They'll all be homegrown, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
when they come through.
And then you've got Bob Down says Skip has been so poor. I would rather a kid. They wouldn't have to. They wouldn't have to do anything to be much better. Good afternoon, Chris Agambar is saying hello to us all in the panel. Kem has given Skippy a 5. Struggles with the pace of the game and front foot football, and has had to play him. If we had a full squad, he would be a bench player coming on if we needed fresh legs. David Shear says he hates being derogatory of any of our players and that he is a good lad. And then we've got Mr. Clark from Leicester. Good afternoon, Mr. Clark. Timothy Werner and Manchester United's first choice for a 6-month contract, but it looks like he's coming to Spurs. We will discuss him later after we get through this. I said 4. I thought he put Lolo and Gio under the pump. So Skippy's getting a 4 from David. Shear. David Clark's come in with Vicario 6, Royale 8, Davis 8, Porro 7, just for the goal. Bentancur 7, the rest bugger all, a big fat 0. So we know how David Clark feels, and he made his comments clear to us yesterday on the after show. On the aftermatch show as well. And then you've got Adrian. I'm a novice cobber. Thank you, mate. Is what he's saying to you. And then you have Bob Down just laughing at Bahrain playing a back 10. I think Bahrain are playing Australia at the moment in a warm-up for the Asia Cup. So that moves us on to, who did I have next down on my banner? So strikers, the next one I had down was, I've got Decky. Adrian, what are you giving Decky?
6. I'm a big fan of the player. He tried to hold the ball. Everyone looks for him from an out ball when we get a game, when we're under pressure. I understand it because he's very good at hold up play. I know I, like other fans, want to see more of his first season end product. But his stats are good for this season. They're very good. I mean, he's got assists and goals. So it wasn't his best performance yesterday, but, you know, he's always there for us. He always puts the shift in. So a 6 for me.
Cool. And Chan.
Okay, for Kulu, I'm going to give him a 6 as well. I mean, like I said, I really wish that he would be in midfield before the starting lineup was announced. When I saw him up top with Brennan Johnson on his opposite flank without, I have to say this, I have to caveat this, without Captain Sonny to lead the forward line by example. He did try his best to put in his shift, but again, time and time again, I don't know why he keeps doing this. He actually has a good right foot. All right, Kulusevski has a more than decent right foot at that, if you ask me. And the number of times I see him needlessly cutting into the left and trying to just curl one into the far left corner with his left foot. I mean, you could do that maybe every once in a while, but after a certain number of times, even us Spurs fans will think that even us Spurs fans will start to think that you are starting to become a bit of a one-trick pony. Sorry to use this cliche. So I don't know. Maybe that was what Kulusevski thinks he's best at in this system at that position on the right. There were some good, tasty or meaty layups that he did present Richarlison, which unfortunately Richarlison just squandered again and again. So until we finally see another proper number 9 come into the team to challenge Richarlison for that number 9 spot, I think that Kulusevski is just wasted on the right. I mean, that's just my opinion, and that's why for this match he's getting a 6 from me.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I think there was a right foot cross when we won away 3-2 at Man City when Kane scored the winner with the header. So he has got a right foot. Yeah. Because he keeps cutting on the left.
Exactly.
That's the closed space there on the corner, what they call the closed space in the penalty area, cutting on there. And I think a lot of the time when he's got the ball, he hasn't got many options in the box. He didn't have them under Conte. We'd be lucky to have one player up, and you've got to put a pinpoint cross in there, So, and when he gets the ball yesterday, a lot of the time he worries other teams because they put 2 men on him. He's got such good touch. He's really got an elegant touch, and I believe there's more to come for him. And I think he's going to be like a Bentancur. He's just going to get better. He's only 23. He's going to get better and better. But yesterday, he wasn't nowhere near at his best.
Right. So, Mia, thank you for being on. I've just seen your message. Mia's phone is getting really hot, so she's going to have to leave us.
All right.
Yeah.
Cheers, man.
But Mia, thank you very much for coming on, and thank you very much for the super chat, Mia. I hope you and the boys are really well, and look forward to catching up with you soon. Thank you, Mia.
Yeah, I'll catch up with you soon. Take care. Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you. So just to show, Mia did a super chat while she was on. Big up, congrats to the memberships and the super chats. And David Shear gifted out a membership to Mr. M earlier on in the show. Thank you very much, David Shear. Welcome now, Mr. M. So we're talking Kulu. I've gone for a 4. I thought it was Kulu's worst game this season. I attribute this to the rest of the team. It's not Kulu's fault. I think, as I said, progressively for me, the further up the pitch you went, the worse we looked. And hence my saying, defence, A-rate, workman-like midfield, Keystone Cops up front. It's unfortunate. I think it's one of the quietest games that Decky's had for us all season. He is absolutely a fantastic player. When we did our Christmas shows, the week leading up to Christmas, I had Decky down as my player of the season because of the hard work that he puts in and the graft that he puts in for the team, hold up play, absolutely everything, dropping into 10, what he did, dropping into 10. And I think he's a vital cog in our team. But yesterday, he was well off the pace. And for that reason, I'm giving Decky a 4 for yesterday. But that doesn't mean I've got any hate on him because I think Decky's a fantastic player. I just don't think yesterday he was at it. But I think that was to do with the setup of the team. Because I think that the setup of the team, from defence we were right, but when we got to midfield, it started diluting because of the setup. And it's probably because of the 3 that were playing in the midfield didn't gel as what we wanted to. So Skip probably let us down there, which meant the other 2 had to do more work, which then meant that the front 3 didn't get what they normally get, the usual supply from us. So Decky, I'm afraid, scores a 4 for me. I want to be hated, but yeah, he scores a 4 for me. And in the comments, do we have any comments from people on this? Right, where we got? So going back to the comments before we go to the next one. So David Shear saying, Decky 6, love this guy. He could play as a false 9. He's the fittest at the club. Mr. Clark's coming in with, we are playing Johnson on the left with no left foot, Richarlison with a right foot and a prosthetic, and Kulu is a book full of blank pages. This proves that Son is the only true finisher at our club. Then he says, but ponies can burst into at least a trot. Bob Down Under saying it was his worst game of the season for Kulu. David Shear saying, Richarlison off the ball an 8, touch and scoring a 4. Daniel Lee, good afternoon, Daniel Lee. When I said we needed a forward, Timo Werner would not have been someone I would have thought of. We'll come on to that afterwards. David Clark says, it makes me laugh when fans say he's only 23. These players have been coached since they were 8 years old to a high level. So 23 is not young whatsoever in terms of professional football. And Scotty M, good afternoon, Scott. I think that is why Kulu is better as a squad player. Too many games that he is invisible in. Too many games in which the style of the game doesn't work for him. And just to catch up with everything, putting Skip in the number 6 role was ludicrous. Everyone has their own thoughts. Right. So our next player that we've got Richie, Adrian.
Heavy touch in the first half from a lovely move, which like he puts past the far post, doesn't he, when he's through? He did 2 of them yesterday, didn't he? Past the post. I don't know if he did any more. I can't remember. He works hard, but number 9's there to score goals. And all right, he scored a few lately, so he has upped his game. He does look a bit more fluid in his play. He did before yesterday. Yesterday game, I thought there was a little bit of a drop off from what we've shown recently. So scoring him, I'll give him 5.
A 5. Chang.
Yeah, I have to agree with Mr. Sroka there because 5 was also my rating as well. Look, I don't doubt Richarlison's tenacity. I don't doubt his work rate. It's the first touch that lets him down. It is his ball control. It is his finishing. Everything that we thought was wrong about him before the surgery has suddenly magically come back again. I was actually fearing the worst and thinking that he might actually require 3 gilt-edged chances to finally even be able to convert 1 last night. So, you know what? I'll just give him a 5 because I know he's trying really, really hard in the absence of Son, in the absence of Valise, with Dane Scarlett maybe not ready just yet to be thrown into the deep end of the pool. So yeah, Richarlison gets a 5, but I really do hope a lot more from him if he is to start away at Old Trafford in the next league game. Back to you, Senor Garcia.
Right, sorry, just before David Shear saying Knight will have to go. Thank you very much, Jose Andrew Chan in the chat. No, thank you very much, David. Have a good rest, sleep peacefully, my friend, and we'll see you on the other side. Yeah, have a good rest, my friend. Thank you very much for being here. And as he says that, Bob Down Under says Australia have just gone 1 goal up against Bahrain, an own goal off one of their back 10. Right, sorry. Sorry. So, what was your score? That's completely thrown me. So, Chan, what was your score for 5? Okay. So, Mr. Richarlison, giving him a 4. Again, I thought the most ineffective of our departments yesterday was up front, the forward 3. I thought off the ball, Richarlison done everything that Postecoglou wants in his selfless number 9. He chased absolutely everything down. Adrian, you were at the game, you would have seen it. He chased absolutely everything down. He closed people down. He ran his socks off the ball. But it's what he did on the ball that completely brings his score down. He brings his score down for me. And that was the amount of balls. He fluffed a couple of early efforts when he was in the box. The service to him wasn't absolutely brilliant, but the ball never stuck to him either. And there was times that he had the ball, and I don't know. It looked, honestly, the reason why I say Keystone Cops is you couldn't make out. If you watched the game back, and you were there live, so you would have seen it live. But when you watched the game back, there was times where the ball was at his feet, and he's turning without the ball. He left the ball behind. He was turning without the ball. So he wasn't even trapping and controlling the ball. He was turning without the ball. And he made himself look so silly. But he was selfless for the team. It was just an off night. For the 3 of them didn't click. And it was an off night. And for me, he gets a score. So, Adrian, it brings us on to Brennan Johnson, mate. What are your thoughts on Brennan Johnson? What score does he get for you, sir?
I'm going to give him a 5 as well. I'm tempted to give him a 6, but I'll give him a 5. And he'll get it because he had that first curling shot, which the keeper was a good save from the keeper. He had two chances yesterday, and I've won the keeper saved. It wasn't difficult. he gets in positions, but his decision making's questionable. He hit that low ball across the penalty area when he should have hit it in the area, either waist height or high. I don't know if you remember it when he cut down there, like, you know, and it was a bit too easy to defend against. So he's showing his really lack of experience at top level. But for a player who cost, well, we don't know the true figure. Also, so fans, when they're critical, they always go with a higher figure of 50 mil or 47 mil or whatever it is with add-ons, or 40 mil. He should be more of an oven-ready player that comes into that team and like, you know, and hits the ground running. He's a work in progress, and that's the problem with us in our front three. You know, it's whatever permutation Ange has picked, it hasn't really clicked. It looked like it was clicking away at Burnley with Solomon and that, but with his 2 assists, but it just, our front three hasn't clicked, and I mean, we hope there's better to come from him. You know, there needs to be, you know. So, no, he gets a 5 from me.
Mm-hmm. Right, so for me, I have gone with, where did I get my banner? BJ. BJ gets a 5 from me as well. I think he started brightly from the front three. On the left, I think he did start brightly. And he was the only person to test the keeper for me. He had 2, like you said, he had 2 chances to test the keeper. I'll be honest, I don't think he took them really well either, not cleanly. The first one, he sent it wide, didn't he? On the volley when it was crossed over from the right hand side right to the back, and he was on his jacks, and he's tried to half volley it, so to speak, and it's gone out for a corner or whatever. Out for a goal kick. And then the other one, he hit it. His body shape looked all right and everything, and his leg looked right. But when he actually connected with it, it didn't even go quite hard. It went quite feeble, and the goalkeeper made a comfortable save from it.
He also needs to get his body over the ball a bit more, because in a few games he's hit quite a few over the bar, hasn't he? You know, so I think he's got the technique. I don't know if he's just rushing things or whatever so much, like, but yeah. But
for me, he was the best out of the 3 up front yesterday, and he's the one that did have created or chances were created for him, and he didn't fluff like the other 2 did for me. So out of the forward line, as I said, in departments, from back to front, we got worse. The departments were poorer as we went forward, but he was the best out of the 3 for me yesterday.
And I want to see him when the ball's on the opposite side. I want to, like, if you're playing wing backs or you're playing wingers, when one of them's bombing on down whatever side the pitch is on, the other winger should be coming in at the far post, right? I mean, he got that goal at Wolves away, didn't he? For coming in there, like, now from Decky, I think it was. Yeah, so we're not doing that, and also we're not hitting our wingers quick enough. We can all see when we're watching a game, like, pass it out to the wing. What's wrong with you? It's if the players haven't got the confidence they've got that pass in them. You know, it's been our problem. We're not moving the ball quickly enough in some of these games, you know.
And you got so David Clark saying Royale was the man of the match yesterday. Calmness personified. Bob down under. Richie worked hard, didn't get the crosses, but couldn't make his own goals, and not well positioned in the box. David Clark says Johnson has to play on the right if Ange is going to get the best out of him, else it won't work. Bob down under again. BJ got bagged a lot, but I thought that he was the best of the forwards and got little support from Cooley or Richie. Needs to finish, but shows a lot of promise. And Mr. Clark finally comes in. At least Johnson showed enthusiasm, unlike going through the motions. A doggy, he was shocking. Right, so just before we carry on, I just want to update everyone that it's now 2:45, so the 3:00 kickoffs in the FA Cup are upon us. But the full-time scores for the Cups is all 5 matches have been decided today, so there's no replays. AFC Wimbledon 1, Ipswich 3, Coventry 6, Oxford 2, Maidstone United 1, Stevenage 0. There is your upset of the 3rd round. The lowest ranked team has beaten Stevenage of League 1 or League 2. I can't remember what league they're in, but Maidstone are through. You've got Millwall 2, Leicester 3. So Leicester rested a lot of their players. I looked at Leicester's lineup. a lot of their players were on the bench, so they rested their players and they've beaten Millwall 3-2 away, and Sunderland 0, Newcastle 3. So all 5 games have been decided. So moving on to my next part of this show is, right, I'm just going to ask you both, is there any noticeable mentions for any of the subs?
Okay, Mr. Sroka, any mention of the subs for you first?
Well, Gil shows he's got a bit about him. He's got quick feet and all that. I just don't see him having a future at Spurs unless Andrew's seen something in him that we haven't. I mean, he's a talent with quick feet. I don't see him having an impact on the wing in the Premier League. I can see him having an impact in the wing in other leagues, but not ours. So I like the look of him. I do like the look of him, but I just don't think it's going to happen for him at Spurs. So I like Donnelly, what I've seen of him for the under-21s. Again, not enough minutes to form an opinion at this level. Want to see more of him. So we will see, won't we? I mean, like, he made quite a few subs, didn't he? Who were the other subs? I can't remember.
He made 4 substitutions yesterday, mate. He brought Højbjerg on as well and Scarlett.
Yeah, Højbjerg, he gives you what Højbjerg gives. And Scarlett, well, we only ever see him score that goal against Shakhtar Donetsk, didn't he? That swivel and turn in the box, which was a good finish. And he's back now, so I can see him being on the bench at Man United as well. He's got promise. That's why if he didn't show promise and they needed the extra work, they wouldn't have put him out on loan. So, yeah, Mourinho raved about him a bit. Again, we need to see these players play a lot more minutes, don't we?
Any noticeable mentions for you, Chan?
Sorry? I'm sorry.
So I'm just asking Chan, any noticeable mentions for you?
Okay, I would just like to make this a short summary about our substitutions. Brian Hill for Lo Celso and Højbjerg for Skip felt rather forced, rather than an option. Those 2 substitutes the first 2 substitutes were forced, and this is I'm going to read this out very carefully. Donnelly, Scarlett, and Sessegnon. I'm going to say this again. Donnelly, Scarlett, and Sessegnon being subbed on ahead of Mickey van der Ven, who was somehow fit enough to make the bench, but wasn't fit enough to come on for either Davis or Royale towards the end to shore up the back 4, tells me that maybe he just wasn't fit enough to even start the game, let alone come in towards the back end of the match. I really do hope he will get fit for United away.
I don't think it was that. I think it was just a question of that Davis and Royal were playing so well that we didn't need to bring Van der Ven on. If he wasn't fit, he wouldn't have been on the bench.
For me that we really, really need a centre back in as soon as possible. That's all I have to say. We need a
He's frozen.
Yeah, he's frozen.
No,
He'll be back, no doubt.
Is he coming back?
What did you think of subs?
Okay, so for me, from the subs, Adrian, what I'm going to say is, I said it last night. I've got no reason to change my mind today. Obviously, you were on your way home.
Can anyone hear me? Can anyone see me?
Yeah. You're back.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so I must have lagged out. Okay, so like I said, that was my only note. That was the only thing of note to speak about the substitutes, because Mickey van der Ven, the player that we so wanted back since his hamstring injury in that home loss against Chelsea, he was back. He was on the bench, but he didn't even get onto the field ahead of Sessegnon, Scarlett, and Donnelly. That's all I have to say about that. Back to you, Senor Garcia.
Okay, so for me, what I said last night is, you know what you're going to get with Højbjerg, although Højbjerg did have 2 misplaced passes yesterday that I thought, I don't know whether his mind is trying to catch up with the game, so to speak, because it's something, regardless of how you are as a person and how you are as a you could be a professional footballer, but if you've been playing the game and you only get ball for the last 10 minutes, sometimes it's difficult to adapt. There was a couple of passes that he played that were awful that he did, but then he did some other good things as well. And there was an impressive block he made as well. Donnelly, we haven't seen much of. He's racking minutes up, so to speak, Adrian, but we haven't seen much of him. Yesterday, when they brought Donnelly on, I was like, oh, because everything I hear and see of Donnelly is Donnelly's a really attack-minded player. He plays in a 10 or he's an attack-minded player. And when we made the changes yesterday, on the pitch, we'd taken off Lolo, we had taken off Monito, and Skippy had come off, right? And then I'm thinking to myself, shit, you got Højbjerg on there, and you had Donnelly on there. And I can't remember who the other midfielder was, but I was like, wow, what are we doing? But I be honest, I'll come back to this after about Donnelly, but let me ask now. I was going to say that with Van der Ven coming back, so your security blanket's coming back to the team, yeah? If we buy a centre-half or Romero comes back, do you think that Ange will possibly give more minutes to someone like Donnelly in the midfield coming off the bench because he's got that security of having his proper back four there? Do you think that might happen in the future?
I think Donnelly, when Donnelly was brought in, he's from Northern Ireland. When he was brought in as a number 9. And he's settled. They found we've got an abundance of attacking flair in an under-21 side. So he's been given a sort of number 10 role. And I don't know what his stats are at the moment, but there were like 6 goals in 12 games and like X amount of assists or something. I don't know. I mean, I see more chance of youngsters like Dorrington and Phillips getting a game than Donnelly does when we've got everyone fit. It's going to be, when Ange used to it, he was making subs on the half-hour mark. He's got more, you want to see him get half hour in the team, don't you? And I know fans are screaming for a pathway, but the pathway from the academy through to that team, without knocking the confidence of players in the squad already, when you've got them on the bench, if you promote an academy player before one of them, that's not good for morale. Yeah. So Ange has got to find juggling. I can see Dorrington and Phillips getting game time this season and next. Donnelly, he may have to go out on loan. I mean, to get game time. The same with, there's a few who are coming up to this mark that they're just going to be, if they keep smashing it, 4 points clear, the under-21s, and they've won every game, there's going to be a few that are going to have to go out on loan. And then the results will probably drop off for the under-21s, but that's not super critical. I like the look of him, but I don't see him getting much game time when everyone's fit.
Right, so just going on to Bob Down Under, thank you very much, Bob. It's very kind of you. He's gifted a membership, and he's gifted it to Queen Ellie. And I don't know why she's done this because she's part of the show, but Ash has just become a member. But Ash is part of the show. Ash, you're more than welcome to jump on. I don't know why you've done that because you're part of this Talk and Ball show. I'm not sure why she's done that.
Has Ash got the link?
Yeah, well, no, Ash can come on because she's part of the show. She can just get in. Right, so my noticeable mentions are going to be that I talked about Højbjerg. I've said Donnelly. I think he'll get more of a chance of playing. I think he's going to get more of a chance of getting a few more minutes once our defence is then sorted out again. But I liked, Hill came on yesterday. Hill must have done something. He must have been in the gym. It's either that or the referee was blind because Hill went up for 2 headers yesterday. And the 2 headers he went up for, he got given fouled against because he nudged. He went up for 2 headers and which I couldn't understand, Adrian.
Yeah. And I mean, I wasn't that impressed with the referee yesterday. I don't know if you two were or not. Like, I didn't think he was that good at all. I think we should have had a few, not all of them, like, because you're not at his level to see what's happening. But I think there was a few obvious free kicks we should have been given that we didn't get. Yeah.
So that's on that. And then what I was going to say, and someone's put a comment about this before I could actually discuss the person, is I thought Dane Scarlett, when he came on yesterday, we haven't seen much of Dane, but he came on yesterday, and from what I saw, he had superb. His movement is really good. He passes and goes, and his movement into the boxes and all that are really good. And he was upset that he didn't get the 1-2 from another player and stuff like that. And with us losing Sonny to the Asia Cup, we've only got Richie at the moment as a number 9. At the moment, I'm saying, hence I'm saying at the moment. So Scarlett is going to come in, and Scarlett will get minutes off the bench because of the way that Ange wants to play. Our team is not 11 men. Our team is 16 men because of the way that he plays. So therefore, it was good to see Scarlett yesterday. So I'm going to give him a notable mention. But then that's going to lead us on to what we're going to discuss next. If I can just go back, I need to catch up with the chat again. Right. So we are going to move on this. Daniel says, Jose, I've only just got in from work. Can you let me know what your views are on signing Werner, if that's okay, mate? We're going to jump onto that now. Ellie, sorry, had a really bad night, coughing and wheezing. I'm okay now. I was treating my throat with elixirs and bigging you up, Jose Chan, and our resident historian, Adrian. Much love to you and all in the chat. Well, I'm so happy that Ellie's getting better. As I said, we want to see her back fully healthy on our screens. We've managed to get one of the people from the community back a bit healthier, and that's Chan. We now need Ellie as well. Scarlett's biggest attribute is his movement in the final third. He showed more movement than the other traffic cones. David Clark, Van der Ven was fit enough to come on. But if you listen to Andy's post-match conference, Andy says he didn't bring Van der Ven on because of the way the game was panning out. Ellie says 3 youngster subs coming on baffled me. Andy, I'm sorry them Højbjerg passes are not acceptable. We were 1-0 up and gives the ball away on the halfway line, and we're attacking. We should count ourselves lucky that it was Burnley we were playing. Ellie says Højbjerg fine, 8 good passes, and what a brilliant ball to Hill, and the fans went wow. And he kept us from having a very hard replay up at Burnley with a brilliant block. Pierre needs praising. I said he did. I said about the block. Once more, thank you. Eddie's thanking Bob Down Under for the membership. Daniel Lee's talking to Els. David Clark, leaving buying young players from abroad. He's just given 2 new long-term contracts, and now he's after 21-year-old Romanian. How much more proof do you need that our youngsters are not highly rated? Ash is coming saying Jose got gifted a membership, and I just didn't want to be left out. Yeah, I was gifted a membership yesterday by someone, only because I'm a mod for the channel, and I was gifted one yesterday. Ellie's saying, Daniel Lee, sorry, loads of players done more than 2 bad passes. Højbjerg got us on the front foot, and like I said, the block was brilliant. Where was our defence? But Pierre's experience is invaluable. You then have this. I must be missing this. The referee was shocking. I think he was an ex-rugby league ref. Chris Peters is just telling us that Spurs under 21s game has been postponed due to a waterlogged pitch. Ellie, for just to go off Spurs, is saying every player did a bad pass yesterday. Call them out and then get real. They're an agenda against Pierre. It's so ridiculous. Now, there is someone that's playing jiggery buggers here because it says, oh my God, big love, Chang and Adrian. I presume that's Carl somewhere in the ether, letting us know. Right, so the next piece is I'm going to come to it. Just put another comment in there. So he says, I have 2 hours to get the whole truck back and some odds and ends left to grab. I say he's still busy moving, and he says that he can do this. Good luck, Colin. Good luck. And then he's just saying, everybody tell me that I can do this. Yes, you can. You can do this. You can do this. The next band I was going to I was going to come to it because it's the big the big elephant in the room at the moment. Adrian, the talk of Timo Werner.
Well, he's a German international. He was in good form before he went to Chelsea, before they bought him for about 48 mil or something. And I don't know. I looked at him and I thought, you're crap. When I see a few games I see him, I thought, you can't finish. But then I don't know if that's something to do with Chelsea's style of play. He goes to RB Leipzig. I don't know his stats at RB Leipzig. Maybe their style of play doesn't suit him either. But then I go and look at his scouting video of his skills, which are posted in my group. And like, he can score goals. So I'm a bit perplexed about him. We didn't hear a lot of him before he had that really good season before he moved to Chelsea. It wasn't actually rave reviews about him. But what I've seen on the video, without a shadow of a doubt, he's a better finisher than Richarlison is. So even if he misses a few,
No, number 2.
and he's got movement. He's got good movement as well. What I see in that video. So no, he'll be an asset to the squad. I'm wondering if it's a loan or a loan to buy option with him, and what the fee would possibly be. It seems that he's keen to come back to the Premiership, maybe and erase his bad time at Chelsea. Looks like he's coming in, doesn't it? So the recruitment team are busy on various deals behind the scenes. So, well, obviously, if he comes in, I hope he does well, but he can score. I mean, so.
Okay, so you have and what are your thoughts, Chan? Chan gone. Okay, right. To me, it's out of the blue, Adrian. To be honest, I woke up this morning to see all this.
We all did. It's left field. It's very left field and a surprise, isn't it? Really.
And I refer to. I've seen a lot of people.
Werner,
I don't know. Hold on a second, Chan. I've seen a lot of negativity surrounding people talking about Werner on X, saying if you think this is a good deal by Levy or by Tottenham, then think again. You're deluded. Blah blah blah. But I found a tweet from Sevilla Spurs, who I follow and follows me, and he says Timo Werner didn't have the best of times at Chelsea, but neither did Kevin De Bruyne or Mo Salah. And I thought to myself, well,
I don't get the fact if there's criticism on this, because the simple reason it's a no lose situation. It's a loan, and if it's a loan to buy, which is deals I like, that's a no lose situation as well. So if we get him in, we're getting him on wages, aren't we? And maybe a loan fee, and so it's not costing the club a fortune, and it leaves us all. We have options whether to take up a buy deal or not at the end of the season. So, yeah, get him in.
Okay, so Chan, go on.
Okay, sorry right there, Jose. So, okay, about Timo Werner now. This really came completely out of the blue, out of nowhere. Of all the forward options I would have thought our recruitment would have brought in, I would have at least expected a Jota loan, a Gift Orban loan, any kind of loan, but Timo Werner. And although I would say that Timo Werner for me is an upgrade over Alejo Velis and also Danjuma, our last January loan forward signing, just how Timo Werner is going to fit into Big Ange's Ange ball system in such a short time, in such a short space between now and the United game away. It just, I don't know. I'm right now, I am genuinely at a loss to decide if Timo Werner should actually be given his chance first, or should Dane Scarlett be allowed to be given his chance over Timo Werner. For me, this has Levy's trademark desperation, sort of like, last chance saloon, or last gasp, kind of a last minute panic kind of a transfer at the end of any window. I would really, really love to be proven wrong on this. As I always mention, anywhere I appear, I really do hope Timo Werner comes good for us. Even more so than the likes of Vincent Janssen, Soldado. I just mentioned Danjuma. Even what's that Portuguese name? The Brazilian, the Portuguese. Vinicius, yes, Vinicius. Carlos Vinicius. I just hope he really comes back to London to prove Londoners wrong about him, and I cannot wait to see him. Back to you, Sino Garcia.
Yeah, I don't think this is only. I don't think Levy would know much about Timo Werner anyway. I mean, this is obviously the recruitment team, and behind the scenes, you have to think, well, how does this come about so quickly, right? Now, Leipzig must have been, offering him out. I think they must have been offering him out. Look, if it's to help their wage bill or whatever, they would have got him cheap off of Chelsea, but probably on a decent wage. So I think he was offered to us, and Ange just looked at him. Ange will know the player, and Ange just probably thought, yeah, I'll take him. So it's a loan, nothing to lose. Yeah, do it. Do the deal.
Right. So for me, this came about yesterday. I heard all about this, all about Timo Werner, either yesterday or the day before. In fact, not Tottenham, but I heard that RB Leipzig would be open to letting Timo Werner move on loan. But I thought, for all intents and purposes, that the team that were looking at him were Man United. And this was either yesterday or the day before when I first heard it. So I thought nothing of it. I just thought to myself, it's a lot of clickbaiting and stuff like that. But then waking up this morning to actually see that Tottenham are now involved, and I don't know, am I reading too much into this? Is it that Tottenham are now in pole position for him?
Yeah, what I've read, it would appear that it's gathered pace quickly. Man United were rumoured of being from.
That was I heard that a couple of days ago. If you weren't yesterday, Adrian, it was the day before the Werner Man United links. So at the end of the day, all I say for Werner is Werner can play across the front three. Werner is very, very, very quick.
Yeah,
he is a real speed merchant. The only other person that we've got in the front three that's an actual speed merchant is Brendan Johnson.
And he likes to cut him from the left, doesn't he, Werner, as well?
Yeah.
When I've seen him in his videos, or he's direct through the middle. So, yeah. So Mange might be thinking of that left-sided player he wants.
So with this, we've got...
He is right-footed, though.
So Timothy Werner is doing the business in Germany. When he went to Chelsea, what did they do? Stuck him on the left wing and made him...
Track back
cluelessly or something. Pauline Mercer, can I come on? Pauline, I don't know who you are. You state further down here, Pauline, that you've watched 4 vids. People that want to contact us about the show, we can be found on Twitter. You have me, Eltel Cockerell on Twitter. You have Colin Talk and Ball on Twitter, and you also have Ash Paddy Coys is on Twitter. So just get in contact with one of us, and we can go from there. But thanks for being on the show. Orisham, I think Werner can come good if he utilises well. Ange will help him. Tuchel just didn't utilise him well. Warner was a great player for Leipzig. I can't forget Leipzig knocking us out in the UEFA Champions League in Mourinho's time. So,
well, the only thing to consider is whether fans think he will improve us, whether it be on a temporary basis or long term if he does well. I mean, so does he improve us? Well, our forward line can only get better as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah.
And then you've got Kem saying Timo's had a lot of injuries at Leipzig and only scored 2
Can I just
goals.
add something to what you just said, Mr. Sroka?
Go on, Che.
Okay, yeah. About what you just said about Timo Werner earlier, I would really love to hear the terms of his loan once it is finalized. Whether is there an option to buy? Is there like what do you call this? Permanent, not permanent. What's that term? Basically, it's a loan now, but the loan must be made permanent at the end of the season. That kind of deal. Is it just only a loan? Is there like a permanent deal at the end of the loan, or is it something more complicated that we've not seen before? I would really love to see, first and foremost, the terms and conditions of Timo Werner's loan once it is announced.
Yeah, I don't know how much Leipzig paid for him. I haven't heard any figures mentioned on the loan. I've seen this morning when I was looking through my news feeds, I see loan and I see loan to buy, but that all remains to be seen. But if he was to come good at Spurs, I don't think he's going to cost a fortune, because Chelsea paid 47 million for him or 48 million for him. Leipzig wouldn't have paid that to take him off their hands. They would have probably paid about half that, you know what I mean? 20 mil maybe. So if we were going to buy him and he comes good, we're going to get a cheap deal, which Levy will love. But I mean, yeah. So I'm as eager as you are, Chang, to see the details in this deal, the financial details. But I don't see any harm in taking him. We need help up front. We do need help. So
Daniel Lee's coming. I can see why people are criticising. He flopped in the Premier League, and all fans have eyes.
Yeah, true, Dan.
Orisham saying not only Werner, Chelsea didn't utilise Lukaku as well, and he's become memes. There has become memes of laka. David Clark is totally a short-term fix because the strikers are not available in the January window.
Yeah, it could be.
Kismat saying, I think Werner would be a good signing. He was a good player before joining Chelsea, but to be honest, Chelsea is a shirt club. You can't judge a player of his performances in Chelsea. For example, Torres. Ellie is coming with Timo has the pace to fit in moves and ball quickly. To fit in moves the ball quickly, and for 6 months alone, it's fine. Timo is technically a very good footballer. David Clark has said he will fit into the system because Kulu will play the number 8 role, Johnson on the right, Werner down the middle, and Richarlison out on the left. Daniel Lee says Levy was scouting Werner at Stuttgart years ago. This has Levy written all over it.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't think. See, this deal would have to go through Ange. Whether Werner, we've looked at him, and as Dan says, like whether we've looked at him in the past, we probably have, and that information's already been given to our recruitment team. They've got to have a look at him. They've looked at the analytics and they've watched the videos of him, and they would know a lot about this player now. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not against this deal,
Okay, and so you got Adrian saying, sorry, I just read Adrian. Scott M saying he's awful, and then Scott M's also saying typical Levy signing because RB Leipzig wants to get rid of him, so it's a cheap deal for Levy to jump on. Bob Down Under says he's in London Monday and will be available for Man United. David Clark saying,
I will though.
David Clark saying Manchester United fan podcast are going crazy because Werner was their number 1 target. And they are fuming. Ellie is having a bit of a chat with Scotty and with Dave Clark. Pauline Mercer, watch add belly dancing to your workout routine. Okay. Bob Down Under says loan with an option to buy. David Clark says there's an option to buy this. Is Daniel Levy you're talking about? Daniel Lee says, if you think Richie was born offside, wait till you see Werner. Then you have Scott M saying there will definitely be an option to buy. RB don't want him. They would be over the moon if we bought him. We have Drula. Good afternoon, Drula. Saying afternoon, Jose, Adrian, Chang, and all in the chat. Glad to see you well and back, Chan. Very nice of you, Drula. Daniel is saying Werner is Leipzig's all-time goal scorer. look at how easy they are willing to get rid of him. It says it all, really.
Yeah, it's a point. I mean, we don't know, do we? We don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, but the deal, if it is, it's not going to be an expensive deal to do. And if it's like, and what we got at the end of the season, if he comes in, he ain't. We just send him back. I mean, what's the problem? There's no problem with this deal, I don't see.
Scott, and when will you get into your head? Every player of the planet leaves multiple clubs, so your opinion is ridiculous. So go between the people in the chat. Werner is very versatile and can play on the wing, midfield, and up front. That's an Ange player. Who are we to judge? So apart from that, Werner, what do you say to any other people that we're being linked with or anything else that we're doing at the moment, Adrian?
Well, we haven't heard. Oh, let me get my notes on.
One name comes to mind, Dragusin. That's it. I'll just say
Well,
Dragusin.
Yeah, there's Dragusin.
The Daily Dragathon, you mean? As
Daily
Brian called.
Dragusin looks like that deal will be done, in my opinion. I'm confident because the player agreed terms, and he previously said he wants to play in the Premier League. Now, we know we're getting this Napoli interest and all that, but apparently they've offered money and players. Really? Money and players? If they had the money, they would come in for him. They'd probably offer players, if the truth be known. And, Genoa have probably said no, right? Plus, do Genoa want to sell to a rival? They'd rather sell him to a Premier League club. So I think the Dragusin deal will get done. Fans are impatient, and we're in, 6 days into the transfer window? I mean, if it wasn't done next week, then I'd think, well, it's not going to happen. If Genoa have pulled a stroke and want to hold Spurs to ransom, the fact that we've got Van der Ven coming back and Dorrington Phillips, I wouldn't be held to ransom. But I'm not an expert on transfer market and fees. There is a cut-off point. Don't let foreign clubs just take out of you just because, right? It's January and they know you need a centre back. We're not totally desperate for a centre back with Dorrington Phillips. I'd be happy for either of them to play and give them blood from what I've seen, right? So if the deal didn't happen, I'd be. I've watched Dragusin play. I like him. Good tackler. Made the most successful tackles in Serie A. He had an 82.5% pass rate completion. Right, he's a good young player. No two ways about it. He is right. So, I would like him. Because then we get 3, and then the fourth centre back can take it in turns with Dorrington and Phillips, and I think that worked just fine for us. Did you want to talk about other rumours?
Yes,
actually, I just had to ask: do we let this Dragusin deal drag on, or can we actually accept like a cut-off point? We need to get him. We need to get Dragusin in.
Shane, if it isn't done,
if
it isn't done early next week, Spurs will move on to other targets. I don't think we're going to get involved. We'll have other targets listed. Whether it's Caceres, whether it's others. Ben Godfrey, Lloyd Kelly, Tosin Adarara, who won't be coming because he's in the semi-final of the Cup. We were linked with Guay, Branthwaite, Nelson, Anderson at Palace, Kilman, Tepso, Batar. I mean, links with so many. All right, they don't appear to be on the radar at the moment, but you bet in the background, some of them there'll be chats. We'll get back to you guys. We'll get back to you. You know what I mean?
That's typical agent talk.
Yeah. But the young players we were looking at were Stanislas Dumbo Muzambo from Ajax, a winger who's refused to sign a new contract. He's a right-footed winger, but he's 18. He was tricky. I think he played some time against Man United in the Champions League, But then Rooney Bargi from FC Copenhagen, the 18-year-old left-footed right winger, he's crept back into the media recently. But the player I would like the player at Royal Antwerp, the 18-year-old Arthur Vermeeren. I would like him, right? Brought him, even if he didn't immediately go on first. I mean, right foot central midfielder. He had a barnstorming game against Barcelona, of all teams to be man of the match against, Like I mentioned, Caceres, Team America, right foot centre back, but he's another Romero Mark II. He's a bit of an animal, right? So, yeah. Who else we got? There's quite a big list. And of course, With strikers, we were. I don't think Feyenoord are going to let Santiago Gimenez go in this window. They'll think there'll be a bidding war for him in the summer. Same with Vlahovic at Juventus. I think there'll be a bidding war for him in summer. I personally don't want, although there was lots of people that disagreed with me yesterday on another platform. I don't want Conor Gallagher or Calvin Phillips. I think when all our midfielders are fit, I think we've got an abundance of talent. You know, you're looking at 7 or 8 midfielders we've got. I mean, you're adding Kulu and Lo Celso to Bentancur, Sarr, Basuma and Maddison. That's 6. Skip will be kept, whether he's number 19 in the squad, down the list or whatever. That's 7. And Højbjerg will probably be sold. Why do we want... And yet others are saying Conor Gallagher would be perfect for the system. Yeah, he may well be. I mean, I'm not sure. I thought his best game I see him play was when Palace beat us at Palace that time. I thought he played really well there. I'm not saying he's not a good player. I'm not saying Phillips is. I just question if you're going to pay the reported fees of 40 and 50 million for these players, then go and buy Jimenez the striker and forget about Werner. You know what I mean? But, you know, that's just my opinion. So I respect the other opinions. I mean, like, it doesn't mean to say I'm right. I could be totally wrong. Colligan could come in at the ground running, but I don't think he's leaving Chelsea anyway. He loves the club too much, and if he left, I think it'd spit rather than come to us. You know what I mean? So Calvin Phillips is probably an option. And if you're going to go and do that, why not go and get Morgan Gibbs right at Forest?
Give Orban, yep.
No, Morgan
Gibbs White.
At Forest. Why not go and take a chance on him? You know, or go for Manu Cohn at Borussia Mönchengladbach, you know, or, you know, someone like that. I mean, I've only barely seen those players, but they look good players, you know.
So you got
Do
GBC.
both of you know that Job Bellingham is playing right now? Do either of you know that Job Bellingham, the younger brother of Jude, Job Bellingham, he's playing right now against Newcastle?
The game's finished. Newcastle have won 3-0. The game finished. GBC fan is saying, I mean, Romano did say that the payment structure was being talked about and then says it seems like Timo will be the first January signing. So, Drula to Chang. Ellie reminding us who Drula is. Drula is Ellie's niece, and she's a diamond, as you found out today. Ellie's asking me what I'm eating, and I'm eating crisps because I've not eaten all day, and because we're doing the show now, I need to have something inside me, so it's crisps for the time being. Ellie, Jose is a hungry Spaniard, just like Porro last night. He was hungry to score that fantastic bullet goal, bang. Good afternoon, Ugly Fish. All our new scouts are finding these exciting 18-year-old prospects, and Levy comes up with Werner.
And there's another one you might know, Girona, the midfielder, the 22-year-old Spanish midfielder. Is his name Gutierrez or Miguel Gutierrez?
Gutierrez.
Yeah. You watched him, Jose? This is a left field news feed I saw.
Yeah, but with Girona, I think a lot of their players, because of what they've done this season in the Spanish league, a lot of their players have come out. They're under the microscope and they've all come out. Chan's got an overfix of M&Ms for himself. Look at that.
Get the sugar in.
Yeah, get the sugar levels up. So, a lot of players for Girona are all going to be talked about. This happens quite often when clubs do really, really well, or smaller clubs do really, really well. You see all the big fish circling and trying to take some of their best players away. So, I've got no doubts that a lot of Girona players will be linked to other clubs. But what I will say is, at the moment, the way the league is and the way Girona are playing, Girona would be reluctant to let players go because they're at the moment in a Champions League place.
Yeah,
and that would, and for a small club like them,
if you know you're getting Timo Werner in, you know more where you are with regards to transfer funds that you've got to spend. Because if you were going for a Morgan Gibbs White, you'd be looking at another 50 mil probably. So, but if Radu Dragason's got in for 25 mil, say, I'm just throwing that figure out there, and not 30 million euros or 35. It's funny how with the news media, the price always goes up every day you're after a player. You know what I mean? So, but I don't believe you should play what a club want. Whoops, whammed. Right, I'm back. Right.
He's back.
Yeah, I don't believe you should play what a club want. I mean, fans always say pay the money and pay. If you fall into that trap, other clubs will know that in the future. You don't want to be a club that's too hard to deal with, but you don't want to be too easy either. You don't want to be a Todd Bowley when they go to a player and they say to the club, "How much do you want for this player?" And the club goes, "We want 50 mil," and he goes, "Well, I'll give you 100 mil, take it or leave it." Because the money they spent on players is ridiculous. So yeah, so
you've also got
in, then we might have a large chunk. I mean, there was that 50 mil left over that we didn't take. You still had the Kane money they said is spent, which is wise to say that. So you're looking at about 130 odd million. I mean, so there's money there. There's money there for this fund, and I don't mind us pleading poverty, but there's money there.
okay. So you've got GBC fans saying, "I agree, Gallagher isn't worth enough for his play style, and Phillips is Phillips." Ellie is coming in with Werner, won the Champions League with Chelsea.
Yeah.
Ellie, as she's a member, she's going to get priority to be read out. Hoiberg is better than both Gallagher and Phillips, in my opinion. Drula says the scouts were at Nottingham Forest looking at Morgan Gibbs-White.
Yeah.
Ellie's reminding Scott that Dragosin wants Tottenham. Bob Down Under has said, "I agree with Adrian that we get Dragosin in. I don't think Ange wanted Jota." And Eddie wants to remind Chang that Chang easy on the sugar. Sugar feeds mucus building. Right. Can I just say at this point in juncture that I gave the results out earlier of the FA Cup and all 5 games were settled. The latest scores so far are, and this is after about 23 to 25 minutes played, is Blackburn 1, Cambridge 1, Gillingham 0, Sheffield United 1, Hull City 0, Birmingham 1, Newport 0, Eastleigh 0, Norwich 1, Bristol Rovers 1, Plymouth Argyle 1, Sutton United 0, QPR 0, Bournemouth 0, Southampton 1, Walsall 0, Watford 0, Chesterfield 0, and Stoke City 1, Brighton and Hove Albion 0. So at the moment, the giant killing is, well, if you want to call it giant killing, is Stoke City against Brighton, 1-0 up Stoke.
Any games tonight? I haven't looked.
Tonight you have 4 games at 5:30, and that's Chelsea, Preston North End, Middlesbrough versus Villa, which I think is one of the televised games.
That'd be interesting.
Sheffield Wednesday, Cardiff City, and Swansea City versus Morecambe. Daniel Lee's just going to remind us, yeah, but Mustafi also won the World Cup with Germany, and he's still crap.
Well said, Dan.
And Alex is here saying steak to you, Alex. The last topic I had to talk about was any comments on the return of our fallen soldiers. So yesterday on the bench we had a certain Mickey van der Ven, and we saw a glimpse of Ryan Sessegnon. So the return of our fallen soldiers, how does that leave us, guys?
Yeah, always welcome to have additional players that you can choose from in the squad. I mean, I like Sessegnon if he can stay fit. He's a talent. He's not going to push Udogie out the side. In the left wing back, left inverted back, whatever you want to call him, position now, he may still be given a go on the wing, left wing, as it's still an issue, which is probably what Ange has probably got in mind for him. So Van der Ven walked back straight into the team against Man United, as far as I'm concerned. So he's back. Maddison's he'll probably be back after the winter break. Then while the Asian Cup and AFCON are still going on, so Maddison might be back for Brentford at home. Then we've got Everton away and Brighton, and then them 2 foreign competitions are over, and we get our players back. So, yeah, I mean, like things are starting to gradually improve. You know, so with numbers, with squad numbers, so yeah, VDV is going to be a big boost for us.
And what about you, Chan? What do you think about the return of our fallen soldiers?
I honestly have nothing more to add to what Mr. Sroka just said, except that the two returning fallen soldiers, and this is only two, Madison and Van der Ven, the moment they come back in, with or without Son, with or without Pape Matasar, or with or without Bissouma, Madison and Van der Ven together back in the team, we are going to see a completely rejuvenated Spurs squad for the remainder of the season, provided all of them just stay fit. Please, footballing gods, if you really do exist, just let them stay fit for the rest of the season. The moment they come back, and this is also depending on just how far Sunny and Pape Matasar progress into their international competitions, and how soon Bissouma is going to be back in contention for league action. I just want to see Madison back. That's it. Before Madison was injured, he was my surefire player of the season. How we only got him for about 40 or 45 million quid was a steal at that time, until I found out just how cheap Vicario was, and I'm thinking, wow, how many Vicarios can we buy with that Madison money? And it got me thinking, are some of these players really worth that price if they weren't British? So I don't know. Van der Ven first, but Van der Ven back first and foremost, and then Madison, and then all the other returning international players coming back from duty without bringing back injuries as well. Please, whoever it is who is out there on your internationals for Spurs, please come back without injuries. I couldn't care less. I mean, I'm not going to talk down on your international competition. You have every right to go compete for it, and good luck for you. But come back without injuries, even if you do come back without medals. Okay, guys, that's all from me, Sino Garcia.
Yeah, well, if Timo Werner comes in and you play him on the left with Richie, and then you got Brennan Johnson playing on the right, you can move Decky into midfield with Lo Celso and Bentancur, can't you? You can drop Skip out the side completely. But then it becomes a question: if Van der Ven comes in, then do you play Davis alongside him, or do you keep Emerson in there? You know, that becomes it. But the rest picks themselves, don't they? You know, so do you have two left footers in there?
Honestly, Mr.
I would go with the two left footers myself, but you know, it's starting to get interesting again. You know.
Honestly, Mr. Sroka, this is a conundrum. I totally and fully entrust to Big Ange to solve it for all of us.
So what I would say is that, look, I'm going to go back to the previous game. I'm going to go back to Lolo coming back. No one had Lolo even on their radar. Come on, let's face it. We thought Lolo would be coming back early February, if anything. Nobody ever thought that he would be making it back for a New Year's Eve match against Bournemouth. So, having Lolo back, getting minutes under his belt is only going to be a positive for Tottenham Hotspur, and for people around on the pitch. Around him on the pitch is going to be a positive. I was given return dates for Mickey Van der Ven and for Manor Solomon as the 14th of January. Well, they were on the bench yesterday, and one of them got a few minutes. So that's 3 players back, providing they don't get injured. We currently have a date. The website is still saying Madison 14th of January, although there are some reports that are saying that Madison might be a bit longer, might be towards the end of the month. Manor Solomon's due back before the end of the month. Christian Romero's due back. There's dates for Solomon and Romero, both the 31st of January. Alejo Veliz has currently got a date of return of the 2nd of March. And as we know, Perisic is out for the season. And at the moment, they're saying his potential return date is the 1st of June, which means it will be after the season finishes. So with the returning players and with anything or any business that we do now in January, it only bodes well for a second half of the season for us all. We've done mighty well to be where we are at the moment with the cards that we've been dealt with so far this season. And I'd like to think that we don't continue having the bad hands that we've been dealt with recently or in the last couple of months. I'm hoping that we start getting the better hands. A royal flush would be perfect. Let's not hide it. A royal flush would be absolutely perfect. Or give me 4 of a kind. Give me 4 aces or 4 kings. Give me 4 of a kind or a royal flush going forward for the second half of the season. What say you, Adrian?
Yeah, I mean, we will have a strong finish. I still fancy us to win this FA Cup. I think we've got every chance of winning it when we get a full team out. People have sort of bemoaned the fact, oh, have you seen our running at April? We've got to play, all these hard teams and all that. I did look at those fixtures, but I don't take much heed into that because when we reach, the end part of the season, the last month and a bit, those teams we're playing will have European games in between playing us. We will have fresher legs. So I'm not bothered about, whether we got to play Arsenal, West Ham, Liverpool, Newcastle, whatever that list is of those players, because I think they'll all be in the quarterfinals of the European competition minimum. You expect Man City to be there and all that. So it's that is less of a concern than it would be if they weren't in Europe. So I think we'll have a very strong finish to the season. Still fancies to finish top 4. I still think 3rd is achievable. I don't think we'll finish any higher than that. But I think we've got a great chance in the cup. I don't care who we get as long as it's a draw at home.
Cool. Right. And Cham, what do you think then with all that? If we start getting dealt the nicer hands that we haven't been dealt with in the last 2 months?
I just want a strong finish to the end of the season, between now and the end of the season. Wherever we finish or wherever we end up towards the end of our cup run, wherever we end up, I think Big Ange has finally learned his lesson from Fulham away in the League Cup. As for the league itself, I think let's just wait till April. Let's just see where we are at April, beginning of April. You can even be on April Fool's Day for all I care. On April Fool's Day, let's just look at where we are in the season, how many points we have, what are our current objectives, are we still in the FA Cup, and then we set our goals and target there. Hopefully, and I really am hoping, April Fool's Day, 2024, 1st of April, we get a fully fit squad, barring Perisic, of course. Big Ange has seen everything and anything he needs to see, from the starting 11 to the bench warmers to our youth players to even some of the under-21s who look promising. Top 4 is very much within sight. I'm going to say this now. I am going to go on a limb here and say top 4 is very much within our sights. Anything more than top 3 is a bonus. I will say it right here and right now. Anything more than top 3 is a bonus. Top 2, you're having a laugh. Right at the champions of England come the last day of the season. I think I'm still dreaming. I think I'm genuinely am dreaming. I'm not on this show. There's no way. I'm almost 70 hours wide awake. I've not had a minute of sleep in almost 70 hours in 20 minutes time at 12 midnight. I'm still fast asleep. There's no way I'm awake right now, am I? Huh? There's no way I'm awake this close to midnight on a Saturday thinking that we could actually win the EPL in Big Ange's first season. It's just ridiculous, let's put it this way. And I can see veins popping off my head, so I'm just going to cool down now. Top 4, anything more than top 3 is a God-given bonus. Back to you, Sino Garcia.
Fantastic. Right. So just an update on the FA Cup again. Just some notable scores. Not much has changed other than Hull City 0, Birmingham 1. So it's interesting now that they've got rid of Rooney, that Birmingham are actually leading the game. So it's interesting. I mean, I don't even know whether Birmingham brought in the manager yet, but they're 1-0 up away at Hull at the moment. I'm keeping an eye out on Ellie's husband, who is beloved QPR, are currently still 0-0 with Bournemouth. Stoke City are still beating Brighton 1-0. So these games have come up to the 40th minute. But the biggest shock, apart from Maidstone, the lowest ranked team getting through, is Watford 0, Chesterfield 1. So Chesterfield are in the National League. They're the leaders of the National League, and they're beating Division or Championship Watford at Watford 1-0 at the moment. Just wanted to remind people, as it says on screen, that we are now monetized for super chats and memberships. And I just wanted to thank the people from earlier. So Mia said, big up, congrats on the membership and the super chats. David Shea gifted a membership to Mr. M. Bob Down Under gifted a membership to Queen Ellie. I'm not sure how quite how Bob Down Under did this, because Bob Down Under's not a member. So I'm not sure how he's managed to do it. Or if Bob, if you are a member, it's not showing the member sign next to your name. And then she didn't have to do it.
Is it possible that Bob Down Under is now using a different account? Is it possible maybe he's using a substitute account, or is it some kind of settings that maybe you yourself are also familiar with, Senior Garcia?
I don't know. It's just I've only just realised he hasn't got a membership, but he's gifted one. It doesn't say he's a member, but he's gifted one. But anyway, thank you to Bob Under, because Queen Ellie's now a member, and then Ash P for becoming a member. And she only did it because I was gifted a membership because I'm mod on Talk and Ball. So that's the reason why she's done it. So thank you very much to these people for supporting us here today. I'm just going to go back to the chat quickly. We had Ugly Fish saying it's good to have. I'm going to go back even further. So you've got Ellie, who's watching the QPR game, like I said, because of her husband. So I was aware of that. Bob Down Under says, Man United, our front three will be Timo, Ritchie and Johnson. And he says our back four will be Doggy, Van der Ven, Dragusin and Porro. Drula's come in with Vic had something to say to Cess, and it didn't look like how are you? Yep, seen clips of that. Ellie saying hello to Steak. Ugly Fish is saying it would be so great to have Van der Ven back in the team. Chan has put in a big long Shkodran Mustafi. Ellie's saying that she loves you, Chan, as you're such a lovely lad with a smile on your face, even though you're suffering with bronchitis. Kudos for powering through. We have Timo Werner here saying, hello, gentlemen. And Ellie says, I love Chang addressing Adrian as Mr. Schroker. Timo Werner's come back in again, and he's saying, I will be one of Spurs' own. And then you have Drula saying Timo Werner's in the house. Ellie's just saying we will grace Wembley if we get into the FA Cup final, and if we do win the league, we would have deserved it. The injuries and suspensions we've had, we are still up there. Chan is telling Queen Ellie, you're truly the queen of Tottenham Hotspur community circles and fraternities. Alex Hilton is saying that QPR have gone 1-0 up. Drula's saying they've scored. Drula's now saying that they've gone 2-0 up. Daniel Lee's saying 2-0 up as well to QPR. So they're playing Bournemouth. So that's a championship versus premiership. And if they're 2-0 up, then Ellie's husband will be very, 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 very happy. I think dinner might be on your husband if this stays that way, Ellie. You might be in retreat tonight.
Yeah, they might draw Spurs away.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about to have a meal tonight, Adrian.
Yeah.
She might take because Ellie's not been well either. Ellie might be treated to a meal or something by the husband if QPR do go on and knock out Bournemouth. You've also got Timo saying, why are Spurs fans opposed to me? And then you've got Daniel Lee saying, Timo, can you do me a favour, please, and fail your medical? we do get quite a bit of banter on this channel. We've not actually said, I don't think any of the three of us, to whoever Timo Werner is, and the chat, none of the three of us have actually turned around and said that we'd be opposed to Timo Werner. You're still positive. We know that, Chan. We know that. You showed us earlier.
Timo Werner looks like a 70s porn star. Not that I've ever watched porn, of course, lads. You know what I mean?
Sheffield United have gone 2-0 up away at Gillingham, so they look like they may be getting through. Yeah. So with that, any final thoughts, gentlemen, before we wrap up?
I actually have a very quick question to either of you and also to anyone in the chat. Can anyone genuinely tell me whom you think was our last German signing? Off the top of your head, no cheating, no Googling, no trying to look up anything. Just tell me right now who you think.
Stefan Freund or Lewis Holtby.
Are you
Lewis
sure?
Holtby.
Are you really sure? Let me tell you, okay, I'm going to give you all a clue. Our last German signing was bought with the Bale money. We sold Elvis and we bought the Beatles, and our last German signing, who incidentally also has a dual English citizenship, was our last actual German signing. Go figure. You want me to reveal the answer?
No. Let's see what Adrian says.
He might want his obscure.
He was bought with the Bale money.
Yeah, but I mean, we brought in.
There's only 7 of them. There's only 7 players who bought with the Bale money. He speaks perfect English. In fact, in his first season, he actually did a social media video showing that he gifted 2 lucky Spurs fans tickets to the home North London derby, which was to be his first North London derby joining the club. Okay, I'm just going to help you out with this. Okay?
No. Let's have a guess at this.
Modric.
He was bought with the money from Bale, you said. Was he one of the Bale money was one of the Super 7?
Yes, exactly. Really think.
The Belgian,
don't focus on Lamela and Eriksen.
Nasser Chadli was
That's
Belgium.
He's Belgian.
That's 4 of them.
Chadli is Belgian. And rule out Soldado as well. Rule out Soldado and a certain Romanian by the name of Vlad Chiricash. Rule out Vlad Chiricash and Roberto Soldado. How many options do you have other than Paulinho? Roberto Soldado, Vlad Chiricash, Eriksen, Lamela, and Nasser Chadli, who is the one missing player who has an English dual nationality.
Paulinho.
Don't look at the chat. I think someone got it in the chat, but don't look at the chat.
I said earlier that it could have been either Stefan Freund or Lewis Holtby.
You got it. It's Holtby. It is Holtby, the guy who went back to Hamburg.
I said
he went back to Hamburg after that.
Chan, I said that like 15 minutes ago, and you were still trying to give us clues. I said them 2 players 15 minutes ago. I said it's got to be Stefan Freund or Lewis Holtby, and you started going into one saying, but then we bought the money, and Bud already said Holtby ages ago.
Okay, and Holtby struggled for game time because we had Eriksen and Sigurdsson.
Oh yeah. So hold on. You've got so Ellie
I just need to dig a hole now, and I just need to find a hole to dig and jump in right now.
You've got Ellie coming in with they're 2-0 up, so Ellie's just catching up. Timo Werner saying, Mr. Striker, don't lie, every man watch it. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what it means either.
Oh, I think he's referring to a comment you made earlier, Adrian.
I do too. Comment, so I can't answer.
I sometimes watch. I don't know what POON means. Of Spurs, PR lady Donna Cullen. Alex Hilton is saying 1-0
I think that bird's
Sangalon.
born.
1-0 Sangalon, who are against Leipzig. I am only coming to Spurs for Donna Cullen, is from Timo Werner. Good afternoon, Philip Bidwell. Philip Bidwell said Klinsmann. Ellie saying Sinclair, Armstrong, and Lyndon Dykes. I think they must be the front three for QPR. Uglyfish is saying Holtby, isn't it? I think someone said it. Yeah, you're quite right, Uglyfish. I had said it earlier, but my hubby is so happy he wants us in the next round if they win. So Mr. Ellie's husband would like Tottenham in the next round if QPR win. Uglyfish is saying, I got it because the host said it. Thank you. And then Bob Banana says, good evening, all. Enjoy chatting you. Bob, if you're leaving, thank you very much. And thank you for giving Ellie a membership, gifting Ellie a membership. Thank you. Very kind of you, sir. Thank you. And thank you for being in the chat and for collaborating with us today. With that, gentlemen, I am going to wrap it up. It's time for me to go and have something to eat. Yeah, have something to eat for us guys. And for Chan, it's probably your bedtime, sir.
Try and get some sleep.
You're on mute.
I have another 10 more minutes. Till midnight. I don't know what it is about midnight, but when the clock strikes midnight, that's time to get off the ball. When the clock strikes midnight here in Asia, it's time for me to leave the ball. Put it this way, in 10 minutes.
I think what we need to do is make sure that we wrap up. So Brighton have just equalised against Stoke City, by the way. It gives you an opportunity to go and get yourself ready for what we say in this country is nanites to sleep. Nanites. So, gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on and being part of Talk and Ball today. What I would say to the people is that, we have now been monetized, so you can get memberships and you can have super chats on here, and just hit the notification bell for when we're next back on. The show did it today because Colin is in the process of moving, came into the chat earlier. And once Colin has moved completely and stuff like that, then you'll have some more regular time slots again. But as I said, thank you to everybody, and come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
My team has got James Maddison. James Maddison is what we need. Whoa, thank God we got James Maddison. This kid plays ball like you would never believe. Whoa.